What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Tom Bilyeu Show Live. We've got some scrambling going on here, boys and girls, because we have checklists that are not being checked. So we are here. We are ready for it. And 8 Democrats cave. I'm going to put that in air quotes. I think there is a lot that's going to be coming out in the coming days. But it does look like the government is set to reopen soon, which is somebody who has spent way too much time on an airplane recently. I am very happy about. To all the people that have been fighting to get their food, I'm certainly happy for those guys. And I think if we didn't get this done before the holidays, it would be a nightmare. So yay! We'll see how it plays out in the fullness of time, but I'm certainly excited to see that come to an end. The debate, though, does continue to rage over the Affordable Care Act. And Drew, I can feel a deep dive coming in. I've started looking at this and I'm getting mad. This is wild. Did you know? If you have insurance, it's more expensive for like some ungodly number of things than if you don't. They literally charge you more because you have insurance. That is so wild. People should be very upset about that one. I'm early in my research there, but ooh, do I have a bad feeling I'm going to come out hot on this one. Speaking of coming in hot, Besant slaps a reporter around for not knowing what a currency swap is, swears that we've made money on the Argentina deal. We'll see. There's more to dig into there, but that's interesting. I've got thoughts on having all these business guys running the government. I'm obviously for it. But we'll see in the fullness of time if this ends up being a catastrophe. Speaking of catastrophes, I hate this one. Kash Patel's girlfriend sues a social media personality for posting her public photo in the comments of a post. Now, I will say he was trolling. He was certainly trying to make a point, but is it worth a $5 million lawsuit? Absolutely not. I think this sets a horrible precedent. And I'm just going to say it. Kash needs to get his woman under control because that is madness.
Get your woman under control.
For real. Hey, listen. Let's talk about it in chat, boys and girls, because that is some out-of-pocket shit. And I'm not here for it. So we're definitely going to have to talk about that. Yeah, easy there. With the punch sound effects. I think that says more about you than it does about me. I would like the record to reflect the punch sound did not come from yours truly. Everyone's selling their NVIDIA stock.
Everyone.
That says something. So keep your eyes peeled as our man Michael Burry shorts basically all things, full stop, but certainly AI and the few companies that have been causing the rise in the stock market. I did the deep dive on the everything bubble that came out Monday. Day before yesterday. Check that out. If you haven't, it is absolutely smashing it. It's a 1 out of 10 for us. So keep your eyes peeled. South Korea's new president has made disinformation a crime that must be punished as it is a quote unquote threat to democracy. I could not hate that more if I tried. And an AI country singer hit #1 on the Billboard charts. And if you have not heard the song yet, it is an absolute banger. As a PSA to everybody that hates AI, I will just tell you, you are the man standing in front of the tsunami. You can try. Just not my advice. You are going to lose. AI is going to happen. And so anybody that is throwing fits, in fact, I don't know if Drew's going to let us talk about it today, but there was a whole Arc Raider thing where their Metacritic score got battered by somebody saying that it's a 2 out of 5. They loved it. Like, oh my God, this game's amazing. Oh, but they used AI for some of the voices. 2 out of 5.
Sheesh.
Oh my God, that's so dumb. And then even hearing some of the journalists like doing all these weird contortions about, well, I love the game, so I hate that you gave it a 2 out of 5, but like also AI bad, and so I don't know how to feel. Feel like it's the future. Find ways to use it. Right now is the golden age of AI, where it's still humans using it like a tool. This is like being mad at Pro Tools in music. You can cling to recording on tape and vinyl, and you can be Quentin Tarantino, insist on shooting on film and all that, but you are just in the world's smallest minority because the public has spoken and they don't care. This would be like me as a game developer going, people that play games on phones, they're dumb. It's like, that is where people play games. Now, I'm not developing for phones right now, but I'm certainly not screaming into the void about it being stupid. Don't argue with behavior. Try to leverage it. All right. Well, that was a shocking rant in the intro. I don't normally do that, but here we are, Drew.
You felt the type of way today, man.
I do feel the type of way.
Yeah.
Mason, wait, did Mason just speak?
I did.
Okay, everybody, hold on. We've got to talk about something. I'm learning something about Mason. So Mason and I had a sit down, and that sit down went something like, what do you think the metric should be by which we judge the success of your department? He gave me an answer, and I was like, well, we're not hitting that. And so I said, what would I need to clear off your plate in order for you to hit that number? He told me, we did it. And in the back of my mind, I was like, he's not going to be able to pull this off. But he gave the number. So I was like, all right. I was trying to talk him off a ledge. I'm like, I don't know, bro, like easy, man, because we're going to judge you based on whether you hit that number or not. So like, this is your chance to like come down to something more reasonable. He's like, no, that's the number. I'm like, okay. Not only did he hit that number, but he far exceeded that number. He was supposed to double what he was doing. He's on pace for, let's say that, 3.6x his already, like, he was supposed to hit 2, pushes it to 3.6x, crazy. We have our best performing day yesterday for one of our live events ever, thanks to what he's doing. I was just beside myself. But the crazy part is he then started talking more. And I was like, what? Like, dude, he's been here for, are we at 2 years?
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay, so almost 2 years. Literally, I'm like worried about his wife because I'm like, if he talks as little at home as he talks here, like they're not gonna make it. Like you have to engage. All of a sudden, smashing his goals, and he's got more vocabulary. I love it, by the way. I fucking love it. And this kid deserves to be celebrated because he literally, no one's going to know who Babe Ruth is because it is the oldest reference in the book. But Babe Ruth would point, baseball player, he would point and then hit the ball to where he pointed, like the most gangster move ever. Mason is the new Babe Ruth.
There it is.
He called it literally.
I appreciate it.
This is only like 3 weeks ago. He called the shot, fucking smashed it, ripped the cover off the ball.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
Very, very impressive. So cheers.
Cheers to Mason.
Very well played.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you stuck by your morals. You were quiet. You waited a couple weeks and you stuck with it. Democrats.
I'm just walking by his. Sorry, I'm fucking up your transition.
You are. You killed me.
Sorry. I'm walking by him yesterday and he just goes 3.6 improvement in leads, Tom. I was like, what? Like at first I didn't even understand what he was talking about.
Not his head at you.
And he's like 3.6. Like he could tell I didn't understand. So he was like, no. I don't think you quite heard what I said. And I was like, what? So anyway, very encouraging. Very, very encouraging. I love to see it. I love to see it. Mason is on an anime arc right now.
Nice.
And I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Arc.
He's leveling up.
All right, let's jump into this government shutdown now. 8 Democrats broke rank yesterday. First off, yes, I know who Babe Ruth is. Somebody said, Drew, you don't know who Babe Ruth is. Of course I do.
Drew's 53. Of course he knows who Babe Ruth is.
I seen his first game. Okay, but honestly, let's talk about the shutdown because I feel like it's a whole big nothing burger. We spent 41 days shut down, and there was no additional bill passed. There was some language about farmers and things like that, but nothing that was what we were fighting about. The ACA subsidies didn't budge. SNAP was solidified for the next year, so that way they can't get held up again. But what Democrats said they wanted, the subsidies to come back, SNAP benefits to be all the things that they listed, this is why we're standing out. None of those things have happened. And I feel like from that perspective, you did 41 days to then like fumble the ball. Do you have a different perspective? What's your response to?
You're going to have to look at this from the perspective of, does this push Schumer out of power? If it pushed Schumer out of power, then it was a complete loss. And I don't know what was in his head. I don't know what he was actually going for, but they won this sort of midterms. I don't know what the right thing to call that is, but there was a blue wave. And if that wasn't a wake up call for everybody knowing that we're going to start campaigning in the summer, and so you better get your shit together because we are a year out from midterms. And if they happened right now, the Republicans would get their ass handed to them. So Trump is doing a god awful job of either delivering the actual goods, although, like, if you listen to Besson, it's like things might be better than they seem, or he's just spinning. So we'll find out. All politicians do is spin. So if Trump is doing a bad job at communicating it, or it just isn't happening, and Schumer was like, I just need the government to be shut down right now so people see, like, we're fighting for the every person, which of course they're not. But if we can create that image, then we're going to win. And they did win. So if he is like some next level political genius who's like, no, that needed to be the story. I needed people to believe like, we're here, we're fighting for you guys. But really, I just need the Trump administration to look bad, to like, hey, they run the government and they could do this if they wanted, but they don't. And they just want to steamroll you guys and they want to double your healthcare costs and they don't care if you're starving to death, right? So it was a battle of everybody was saying the other person is responsible. But clearly right now, Trump is in a weak position. People are not feeling it. So they're like, just give me the other guy, whoever the other guy is. I don't really care, just not him. And that has worked like a charm. But so if you had said, Tom, predict what the Democrats are saying right now, I would have said, oh, they're stoked that he got the blue wave and they're all behind him. But obviously they're not. And so they're having their own internal civil war. They really are pissed. Half of them really are pissed about the fact that they didn't get the ACA stuff. So it's like this is starting to feel like, call it establishment Democrats, which are playing one game, and then populist Democrats, which are playing another game. The populist Democrats, I'm telling you right now, they are being led. Their spirit animal is Mamdani. Okay, he may not be the one in the room telling them what to do, but their spirit animal is Mamdani for sure. I'm 10 toes down on that one. So you've got that side. All they want is like top down, give people more, spend more, free stuff. Like that's all that matters. And so you, Chuck Schumer, did not get more free stuff added to the big, beautiful bill, the big, beautiful catastrophe. That would be BBC. I don't know that we want to go with that one. But you heard it here first. So yeah, the very catastrophic bill. We want to make it more catastrophic. So all of that is at least trackable. You can understand that you've got two wings now of the Democratic Party that are really clearly establishing their identity. You've got politics as normal. You've got Schumer going, listen, there's a political game here that you guys aren't playing that we can get what we want. But it really has, at least temporarily, eroded his position in the party as far as I can see. Like you've got a lot of big voices, including Ro Khanna, coming after Schumer and saying, yeah, you're feckless. Like you didn't get us any of the things that we were actually fighting for. So I think that part of the party feels very blindsided by, oh, wait, like this was all just political bullshit. You weren't actually interested in any of that stuff, which is why you sent out the 8 Democrats. This is people's read on it, that he sent out the 8 Democrats saying, I didn't authorize this. What are you talking about? But in reality, closed room tells the 8 Democrats who just happened to not be up for election at midterms and says, all right, you guys go cave. Let's get the government open back up. We got what we actually wanted, which was to get these other people elected across the country, to get the gerrymandering done in California, to get the new DA, like, you know, all the different things that went blue. We got it. So now we're good. And this wasn't about the Affordable Care Act in the first place. This wasn't about benefits for the poor and working class. It's about power. It's always about power.
Yeah. I would agree with you, but I do have to push back because if it was the Mamdani wing that was kind of up in arms, I would. And even calling it the Mamdani wing, it's really Bernie's wing, and Mamdani is just a spawn of that.
Bernie is basically a corpse.
Bernie was the OG populist back in 2008. He didn't make it.
Bernie is Dr. Dre. It's like, if you're old, Dr. Dre is like, yo, it's Dr. Re.
Then that would make AOC like, 50 Cent, and then I'll make Mamdani like Eminem.
Well, no, because I think AOC is still young enough that she is part of the Mamdani wing. She just is, you're used to her now. So she might move up on the national stage. She might become like the president. But if you want to know the candidate, if you want to know who has the energy, he's just going all the way. He's saying like the full things that even like an AOC is not all the way out in the way that he has actually said, seize the means of production. Now, people want to believe that in the last 3 years, like he's had some sort of epiphany, that the only epiphany he's had is, oh, I can't say those words and get elected. Cool. Got you. I'll keep them in my back pocket. But I'm telling you, like, if either he just blows with the wind in which case, what are you actually voting for? Or he has an internal worldview, and that internal worldview is socialist, which seems pretty easy to believe.
He could be updating his mental model as he learns new information.
Listen, he could be. I will not doubt that at all. But I will need to see policy moves that make me believe that there are new foundations here, which I do not see. I think that he has energized his base. He's a very slick politician. He knows what he can and can't say. And he's just getting better at that game. But dude, the mountain of stuff that you can find of him just saying the most unhinged shit. So anyway, I think this is somebody with a very deft mental model in that he understands there are certain things that you can say in public. There's certain things that you can't. I think that he has become a lightning rod for social attention, which is the lifeblood for any politician. I want to be very clear. If you want to get elected, you have to get attention. To get attention, you either need money or you need the ability to win over the algorithm. He understands how to win over the algorithm. So he's able to get that like bottom up. Literally, I teach this to entrepreneurs. So if somebody comes into Zero Founder or they come into $1 Billion CEO, one of the first things I tell them, because people ask all the time, like, how do I do paid advertising well? And the answer to doing paid advertising well is to be so good at organic, unpaid content that you're just putting a couple, bucks behind it and it takes off like crazy because the content organically is just so good. He's so good at it that if you give him $1 of campaign funds, he's going to be able to make it perform like 10, unlike somebody like Schumer who just does not know how to get attention. And so AOC was that, and I think that she still is contemporary enough. She's just not hot. She's not new enough. Whereas he's pushed even farther. He's new. And so there's always just the I haven't seen this before. So we'll see how this plays out. But anyway, I think it is the right way to map what is happening to the Democratic Party is to understand him as a spirit animal at a minimum. And he has shown them, there's a winning strategy here from a populist standpoint.
Out of the 8 Democrats, 2 of them already were kind of breaking. That's Sean Fetterman and Angus King. They were the independents of the Democratic arm. Janine Shaheen and Dick Durbin from New Hampshire and Illinois, they're both retiring at the end of the year. So they're like, we don't have the fight in this anymore. Let's give it to it. But the people that were surprising was Jackie Rosen and Catherine Cortez Masto from Nevada. And they both said that with the government shutdown looming, canceling flights would have hurt their constituents in Nevada. Vegas is already on the lifeline. If they would have canceled 40% of flights for the holiday season, that could have been a death. So while some people are pointing political games, when you kind of drill into each of them, Tim Kaine, who's a Virginia senator, if the government was shut down, would have continued, just like Trump was planning, those government layoffs would have been permanent after 45 days. So it was like, okay, I'm in Virginia. That would have directly hurt my constituents. Everybody in Virginia works for the government. I'm at that point. So a lot of I need to do what's best for my people versus what's best for the party in whole. I like that directionally. I think that that's honest and that's what we should be doing. But I think the bigger question now comes to this Obamacare, Affordable Care Act subsidy plan.
Before we move on to that, so I want to rebrand a thing that I am certainly not the one to come up with this. I learned about it from James Burnham. He learned about it from Machiavelli. But gain and retain. I want people... Did you know that things that rhyme are considered to be something like 70% more true? It's hilarious, but true. So gain and retain. That's all that a politician wants to do. They want to gain power. They want to retain power. So this is about getting reelected. So you said that you like that, and that's what we should do. What I like and what we should do is get the government running again, bring the two sides together to negotiate in good faith to get what's best for the country. That's not what we got. What we're witnessing is gain and retain, and it has a veneer of I'm going to do the right thing. And so we should all be skeeved out in the extreme by the fact that the only people that were willing to reopen the government are people that are not going up for reelection, because that tells you that they're like, yeah, this might be against the will of our constituents, but like these people have reason to believe that, this is actually, if I don't do this, I'm just not going to get reelected. Not that I have a principle that I'm standing on. Like I would love for people to say, here are my principles and give me as much nuance as you need to. But now, based on your principles, I should be able to get pretty close, call it 80, 85% of how you're going to bounce on any one issue. But we don't do that. everybody holds those cards close to the vest. We're just supposed to figure out over time, like what they believe based on how they vote. And it starts to get scary. Like when you look at how people actually move in the political realm, if you map to gain and retain, it's like, it's 100%. If you map to basically anything else, they will be all over the map.
In the current like political system, Democrats have zero power. They don't have a majority in the Senate. They don't have a majority in the House, and the executive in chief can veto any other bill that passes through those two if they happen to get them through. In this specific instance, this was the one point of leverage that they did have because you did need the 60. For other things, you can just do majority. While I get that the gain and retain should be the North Star, or
No.
you saying
Gain and retain is
the
their North Star.
and
That's
you're saying
a
they should
horrifying reality.
Got it. Is it, if let me project onto some of the Democrats that held out, is it maybe a stay of, I would rather have this short-term pain for another 20 days of a government shutdown in order for the Republicans who are losing power at the moment to crack on the ACA subsidies so that way I can long-term help my constituents have a lower healthcare premium versus I need to just open the government as soon as possible, even though I know that that's going to, there are things that I could have fought for if I would have waited out longer.
All right, so this gets very complicated because what I'm saying is have principles, vote on your principles even when it's hard, which may mean you do one term and then that's it. People, you're just like, I'm really fighting for you. And I get, like, for instance, all the things that I would do to fight for people on the economy, they're not going to be understood because most people don't understand the economy. So for me to do the right thing at all times for people is going to be deeply unpopular at times. And so I've run this experiment in my head, like, how fast would I get voted out of office? And I'm like, fast. So it's one where I believe people ought to have principles. They ought to vote based on those principles. They ought not fear, morally, they ought not fear getting booted out of office if they really believe that they're doing the right thing. Okay. Now, what happens in this case is that they didn't vote their principles, but I hate their principles. So it's sort of good and bad. So the Affordable Care Act, I am coming to believe, early days, but I'm coming to believe is an atrocity and that it can be blamed for how high the prices are, or it's part of the blame. That we have a wildly dysfunctional healthcare system. And so trying to force the government to just pay more and more of that, which will exacerbate the problem because you have a flywheel of government subsidies are the very thing that create this perverse incentive for insurance companies to go, it's $600 if you're not insured, it's $1,300 if you are insured. That's crazy. That is toxic. That is extremely bad. And that is where we are. So I'm saying, I don't want them to get more subsidies for the ACA. I want them to solve that problem.
But are those your principles or their principles? Because if those are...
That's what I'm saying. So I believe my principles represent math, but yes, those are my principles. And so I'm saying they should have fought for it. I would have more respect for them if they, instead of running a gain and retain strategy, they were running, this is actually what's right for my constituents. So this is a thing
or what I
I'm going
believe
to
what
do.
is right for...
Yeah, like, listen, we're all going to be wrong. A key part of my philosophy is that I always believe I'm right, but I'm not always right. So I have to factor that into the way in which I pursue my own agendas. Like, I've got to be thoughtful. There are times where it's like, yeah, this shouldn't be left up to only me, et cetera, et cetera. So I would have respected their approach, even though I hate what they're fighting for, if they had said, this is really the thing that we believe is right. We're going to go all the way. Now, I would have been arguing vociferously for them to recognize that's terrible, that they are fighting for the wrong thing, that they have the wrong North Star. But I would have respected that they were fighting for the thing that they actually believed, if that's what they actually believed. But I am always surprised by people's behavior when I run they have a moral compass and they're just doing the thing that they think is best. And I'm never confused when I go, this is a gain and retain strategy. So listen, there are people like Ro Khanna. He does seem pretty consistent. I won't lie. I think he's just wrong about a lot of things. But he really does seem to be like, this is the thing I believe, and therefore I'm going after this thing. So it's like, I have respect for him. I can sit down with him. I think he's crazy. I think he's going to make horrendous mistakes for the country. but he seems worthy of respect.
Yeah. Now diving into the Affordable Care Act, I think that we're playing Monday morning quarterback for a lot of it when we have this conversation. ACA is terrible. It's horrible. We should dismantle it. It should be struck out of the law immediately. And then we didn't take a step back to say, how did we get here? And we don't think about the insurance, the individual mandate being lifted in 2017 when Trump was in office, which was a tentpole to make the math of the ACA kind of make sense. For those that don't know, the ACA it was supposed to be modeled similarly to Social Security, where everybody's required to have insurance, whether you have it or not, from your job or not.
Yeah.
That's why the marketplace was spun up to begin with. So that way, healthier, younger people are still paying into the system and not just the sick people who have insurance.
That is god awful. I hate that so much.
Absolutely. It was either that or 30 million people not have insurance. So we decided that the 30 million people having insurance was more important than everybody chipping in. Everybody's required to have car insurance. Now you're required to have health insurance. That was the kind of the justification.
Wild.
In 2017, that individual mandate was removed. So now you don't get penalized if you don't have insurance. So, of course, younger people flee, and then that raised overall costs, period. Okay, go ahead.
If you knew that 60% of drivers drive drunk every day, like they only ever drive drunk, every time they get behind the wheel, they are drunk. How would you feel if I said, oh my God, there are so many car accidents. Like, we can't keep doing this. Everybody has to have insurance. Oh, and by the way, because there's so many drunk driving accidents, the rates are through the roof. How would you feel?
The same way I feel now when I pay health insurance, car insurance, even though I haven't had an accident in 5 years, and my rate keeps going up.
Bad. Yeah. So we just took a really dumb system and made it even dumber. Now, I'm a little hurt that you didn't ask what's the analogy with the drunk driving, but it is the overconsumption of sugar. People are, it isn't just diabetes, but like these are self-inflicted wounds. And so we've got a healthcare system that is going broke under a whole lot of stupidity because we're removing competition because the government is paying for everything.
I mean, the people are going broke. It's not the healthcare system that's going broke. The healthcare system is doing fine. United Healthcare is posting wins. Kaiser's posting wins.
For the correction. The country is going broke.
That is going, they're going broke.
Because one of the many grotesque expenses that we have is subsidizing healthcare.
If we were to go back, I know your austerity plan, from your the SNAP conversation we had last week, some people just got to figure it out. Sorry, go to a church, they could figure it out. Yeah. Healthcare was supposed to be something different. We thought, okay, insurance kicking people off who had cancer, that was wrong. We should make that a law that it's not. That will require healthcare. But it seems like the energy going now is, those people should get kicked off their healthcare and they'll have to figure it out. Is that...
You think that's what I'm saying?
I think you're saying the ACA needs to be repealed. And I'm saying if you think that the ACA needs to be repealed, then pre-existing conditions come back. And if pre-existing conditions come back, people can then lose their health insurance. So that's the second order cause and effect of repealing the ACA right now in this moment.
Yeah, well, so we have to separate right now in this moment from what does good policy look like. So
are we starting at the beginning? Because we're here now, though. We can't start the policy.
Yeah, being here now, I am not a repeal it overnight. Okay. This is the same reason I'm like, if you told people, illegal immigrants or otherwise, you're going to get SNAP benefits, you can't just shut it off one day. You've got to say, all right, this is going to expire at this date. You've got 90 days, 120 days, whatever period of time, but a reasonable period of time for them to figure it out. So I don't support the just on-off switch. You told people you were going to do that thing. It's perfectly acceptable to change your policy, but there's a reason that laws usually give you some period of time to like, hey, this is coming to effect. It's going to go into effect in 3 tranches, whatever, so that people can adjust their behavior, adjust their lifestyle. So I would never say, hey, you've made all these promises, but just turn it off. That is not what I would do. But I think that we need to approach healthcare from the perspective of, from the physics of how these ecosystems work, how do we drive costs down? And we've not done that. We've done the exact opposite. And this is the big problem with big government people is they do not understand. The government is going to drive costs up and make things worse, always and forever. There's no exceptions. Like, period. Just that is the truth of it. And so you'll sometimes accept that because there's no free market incentive to pursue a thing that we decide we want to pursue, going to the moon to beat Russia. Right? So we just wanted to signal to Americans on a vibes perspective that we're better than our Cold War competitor. That's actually dope. That's super meaningful. That matters a lot. But as we're seeing now, the second that there was a private sector way to do this, SpaceX, then it became infinitely cheaper. So I'm not saying that you don't ever jumpstart things with government dollars. The internet came out of DARPA. Love it. Amazing. But then you get the fuck out of the way. And so I'm just saying the government is knowable. It will fuck everything up because it is not subject to the forces of competition. The forces of competition and the selfish desire to get richer than your neighbor is the thing that gives us all of our lovely world that we see. Like this is all the result of that. People being extremely selfish, wanting to get richer than their neighbor. And so people don't like that. I get it, but that's causing them to make really stupid decisions. And so I'm just like, oh my God, like we have to get to the physics of these situations. So when you get to the physics of healthcare, you have to open it up to the competition in the market. You've got to make it so that a health insurance company can go out of business so that people go, yeah, that insurance company sucks. I hate everything about what they're doing. This one's dope. You've got to get rid of all the regulatory capture that made it possible for Americans to pay the burden for drug discovery, and the rest of the world gets everything super cheap. Like that is wild. So you've got to get rid of that kind of stuff. And at the same time, if we go as a country, hey, we're going to balance our budget. And the thing that we really care about is we want to make sure that nobody goes broke from a catastrophic illness. Okay. Like, then let's look at that. Let's say the one thing that we don't care about is pre-existing conditions. But, ooh, buddy, are you going to have to like deal with the low level stuff? So if you look at right now, this, I should have pulled the link, but if you look right now, the example that I gave, $600 without insurance, $1,300 with insurance, is a real example that I'm using of a guy who recorded his phone call with the health insurance company. And he was like, hey, you guys sent me the bill for $600. I sent you my insurance. And then you sent me a new bill, which is higher. And they said, yes, because if you have insurance, then you get the insurance cost. If you don't have insurance, then you get a discount. That is so maddening that I don't understand how people don't go, wait, hold on. First of all, you're going to pay some ungodly amount of money until you hit your deductible anyway. So all of those costs matter. Yep. The incentive that the insurance companies have is that they're going to, or the doctor or whatever that you're talking to, they have is that, well, I've got to make money somewhere. So I'm going to send this to your insurance company. Your insurance company is going to negotiate with me, but they're still going to pay a lot. And so they get a sense of like, okay, the procedure costs this much. Your insurance is only going to cover this. And so you're going to be out of pocket that much. And if you haven't hit your deductible, then you're just going to ring up. I mean, it could be 15 grand. It could be more. So all of that stuff is terrible. And you've put people in a position where they have to have it. So it's like, you can't lock people legally into a system that is predatory on them, which is exactly what we're doing right now. So again, I'm not a pull the plug today, but I'm like, we're going to have to start talking about this. I can already feel that to get to my goal of a balanced budget while making sure that the country has the things that they believe in, I'm going to have to start talking about this stuff. So here we go.
Like it's like a realization, like in real time. You're like, yeah,
well,
we got to figure.
Yes, because you start looking at all the things that we spend money on, and so one of the ones that we just spend an ungodly amount of money on that people they're completely blind to is we let people destroy their own health, and then we force young healthy people, like you said, to pay into a system like Social Security, where it's like, I am specifically making you, dear young healthy person, pay for the young and ill and the old and ill, and then just the old. So it's like, okay, that is god awful. That is god awful. But if as a nation we're like, I don't want to see somebody go bankrupt on cancer. It feels too roll of the dicey. Don't like that. And so cool. Now we're going to put things in that are going to cover for that. What exactly that will look like, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's like, there's no reason that you can't put systems in like that. And so that would be better. You still have the issue of cancer is almost certainly tied to environment for sure. And there might be so much luck of the draw there, genetics for sure. And there definitely is luck of the draw there, but it's also a third pillar is what you eat.
If there's a, hypothetically speaking, budget is balanced, there's this new health insurance that is proposed that is very much there is a pool of resources in order to subsidize this health insurance cost. So right now, everybody who gets a paycheck, they have the Social Security gets taken out, Medicaid gets taken out, things like that.
Yep.
If that system is viable, are you okay with that, or does it break when the individual is paying into a larger pool? I'm trying to see where the economic.
If you make it a Ponzi scheme, you're going to have Ponzi scheme problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if, for instance, your actuarial math comes out to go, okay, we have to have at least 40% young and healthy people paying into this pot, otherwise we can't support it. Well, then you need to have a mathematical table that says what you do when it becomes 39%, 38%, 20%, whatever, because you can't guarantee that you're always going to have 40% of young, healthy people paying into the system. So if you've got a plan for that, then yeah, I'm totally open. Remember, here is how governments ought to work morally. You ought to have a balanced budget, and then the budget ought to be allocated to what people believe in. And so if people are like me, I'm going to bang the drum for innovation. Innovation has saved more people than anything ever. It's pulled more people out of poverty than anything ever. Freedom is a prerequisite to innovation. But like, I've got my whole thing. I can walk you through all the like why it works and all that. But like, if I'm a lone voice because I don't trust myself to be right on everything, I'm like, okay, well, I'm prepared to live in the world where the quote unquote dumb voter overrules me. Okay. Like, I get it. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm just going to stand there and take it. Like, if the dumb voters are doing things that I think are too crazy, you bunker up, you move, you whatever. But I do believe that is the way things ought to be. But because a unbalanced budget steals from everybody and is a reverse Robin Hood and gives to the rich, it's like, well, we know we can't do that. So anybody... morally, that's my belief. Obviously, Mamdani, the socialists and communists completely disagree. And I think it is legitimately evil or a level of stupidity that cannot be forgiven. So,
I mean, technically Trump doesn't agree because the big beautiful bill added to the deficit too.
Yes. So where do you see, if you've ever heard me champion the big beautiful bill, let me know.
It's just you threw a shot at Mamdani, who doesn't have nearly as much control over the federal budget as somebody who actively is pushing a bill that.
Okay. So one thing I think you and I collide on all the time is directionality. So the directionality of Mamdani shows me that the idea of socialism and communism is gaining steam. And there really are 3 books. If people read those 3 books, they are either murderously evil in their own way, or they'll walk away going, "Oh shit, okay, well, those options are completely off the table." And that would be the Gulag Archipelago. Usually I'll say the Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, but for this, I'll say Tombstone, or you can read the alternative Mao, the Unknown Story, and then the Red Famine. If you read any 3 of those books, you'll walk away going, "Oh, got it." Like, this kills at a level that makes Hitler look like the Junior Death Squad. Like, it is insane how many people, Mao, Lenin, Stalin, those guys, they knew how to kill. Like, bro, you don't, gas chambers, like, that is some fucking old school barbaric shit. Just fucking starve people to death. You know how much faster you can kill people if you starve them? Cyclone B. Like, what? Like, you got to fucking have a supply chain. You got to order that shit. All you have to do to starve tens of millions of people, you go in and you're like, who are the best farmers here? Oh, it's those 7. Yeah, the ones with like the bigger plow and the extra horse. Yeah. Fuck those kids, right? Yeah. Greedy. I'm just going to shoot them. Bang, bang, bang. 7 people dead. Everyone starves because skills have utility. And the guy that knows how to get the extra plow, the guy that farms better than you and therefore has some extra cows and extra horses, what he's saying is, I know how to do things you don't know how to do. And so if you kill me, that knowledge goes with me. And now you starve. And I bet people think I'm kidding. And I'm not. Read the books. And you'll be like, holy shit, it is distressingly easy to kill a lot of people. So anyway, when I see Mamdani, I'm like, oh, here's a guy This is how I feel about Nick Fuentes. I was on the fence about Nick Fuentes. I didn't fucking know. I didn't paid attention to him. It sounded racist as shit. But like, I used to think Jordan Peterson was a misogynist, and I just hadn't looked at him. So I was like, look, I haven't looked at the kid, probably racist, but like, I haven't done a deep dive. And then he said, I love me some December 18th because big fan of Stalin, and that's his birthday. I was like, peace, I'm out. Like, what do you do with that? If somebody wants to date my sister and they roll in and they're like, yo, Ted Bundy, big fan. I'm like, get the fuck out. No more words. Like, we're done. You don't get to date my sister. So I don't understand how people aren't like, ooh, Mamdani is saying he actually believes the things that those guys believed that ended up killing all those fucking people. You have to read the books. When you read them, you're like, there's a story in Red Famine is the only book that I ever realized, I can't read this at night. Remember, when I go to bed, I put in headphones and I'm reading at all times. So if people are wondering how I read so much, that's how. I do not absorb anything while I'm asleep. So please don't think that I do. But in the 10 or 15 minutes while I'm falling asleep, and then call it 15 or 20 minutes after I wake up, like that's a big chunk of my reading. And I had to stop reading that book at night because it was keeping me awake, because one night I woke up at like 2 a.m, and usually the book kicks in and it lulls me back to sleep. That one kicked in, and it was a story of a woman who was eating her own 7-year-old daughter. And I was like, yep, I'm out. So that'll keep you awake. So that's what happens when you seize the means of production. That's what happens when you say rich people are just evil, instead of going, they know how to do something I don't know how to do. Which, by the way, 70% of all billionaires are self-made. So these are people, they know how to do something you don't know how to do. And you would be very wise to go, what is that thing? Because I would like to learn that skill. Now, luck and timing are going to play a part of it. So maybe adopting that skill does not ever make you a billionaire. But can it make you a couple $100,000? Probably. So yeah, that would be why I'm going to keep beating that drum, and why those arguments will never be persuasive to me, because he is on that path. And I know that path only ends in one place. The physics of life tell you that can only end in one place, because skills have utility.
Brutus Lugo, right on time. Tom,
yes, it was in all caps.
Tom, you want us to make these wild assumptions about the direction Mamdani is going when he hasn't done anything yet.
Do I want us to make these wild assumptions? So here's a base assumption I have. When somebody tells you who they are, you can believe them. Now, if Brutus is like, bro, just because somebody tells you that they are a socialist, just because somebody quotes the Communist Manifesto, doesn't mean that they're a socialist, doesn't mean that they believe in communism. Okay, but that's not the world I live in. The world I live in, if somebody tells you, I hate that. There was a young man by the name of Yeezy. And one night before he went to bed, he said, I'm going to go DEFCON 3, DEFCON 3? Can't remember. DEFCON 3, I think, on the Jews. He went ham on the Jews. So that was like, okay, like you could take him at his word. He was mad. He was going to do something about it. He was going to talk about it, and didn't go well for him, but he certainly did the thing. People tend to tell you what they do or what they're going to do. That really does reveal something about who they are. So
and now he's crying in the arms of rabbis.
I know. And look, maybe he really has turned around, and Lord knows that I'm open to that redemption arc. But it's like, unless Mamdani is like, listen, these are why I said all those things. I now reject all of that. No free buses for you. Not because I can't get it passed with Hokum, but because it's a terrible fucking idea. Because I have spent the time, what was the phrase? I educated myself. I educated myself on how the economy actually works. I read the 3 books. Thank you to Tom Bilyeu for recommending 3 books. I read them. And now I realize, oh yeah, this is murderous ideology, and I reject it wholeheartedly. So, but if Brutus has a different vibe, that
there was a part 2 to the super chat. So, Tom, you want us to make these wild assumptions about the direction Mamdani is going when he hasn't done anything yet. But we have Trump doing actual communism, and from you, we don't get nearly the same energy. So, Mamdani is who,
rightly so.
rightly so, you're not
Correct.
getting 18.
That
So
is correct.
the difference is because Trump didn't tweet out the Communist Manifesto.
Because Trump doesn't, in my opinion, believe in the Communist Manifesto.
And then the things that he's doing now are just not
Dumb, stupid,
They're just dumb.
horrible, but they're not on the same path. He's on a different dumb and bad path, but he is guided largely by profit. This is why I'm saying I am now having to parse through what do I think about people trying to run the government like a business. And that's where I'm like, my knee-jerk reaction is that it's good, but I have unease. And something tells me that I'm going to need to spend time with why I don't just go, it's an unmitigated good.
Yeah.
So there's something there that I'm going to need to figure out. But let's talk about, this is the same conversation I was having with Destiny, where people need to understand amplitude of like a problem. So we need to bang the table loudly and proudly that Trump's big, beautiful bill is a disaster and that he is perfectly willing to run a deficit. And that is really problematic. Now, at the same time, we need to be intellectually honest and say Trump is also trying to make money for the US government. Now, you may not like the tariffs, understood, but they've generated hundreds of billions of dollars. So now you might say, but they're raising prices. Yeah, they probably are. The inevitability that that will have some inflation-like effect. It is not the same. People need to stop conflating inflation with prices going up. But anyway, it will have an inflation-like effect because it will inevitably impact some prices. But the great news about tariffs is they are typically shared to some degree between the exporter and the importer. So it is a tax that you pay some percentage of. Is it 50%? Is it 80%? Don't know. That is for economists to tell you. But it is traditionally shared in some meaningful amount, which we have seen so far to be true. Okay, so you've got Trump, who is buying up equity in companies. Terrible fucking idea. Straight out of China's playbook. I did a whole deep dive about it. So if people think I'm being quiet about it, they're just not watching enough content. Hey, everybody, make sure that you're subscribed. So that is really stupid, and I really hate it, and that will really cause problems. And I have fucking popped off about it a dozen times. But it isn't going to, in my estimation, it isn't going to end up being murderous. It's going to be terrible for the economy. We should absolutely not do it. But it is not going to lead to Trump shooting people for dissent. Nothing in the way that Trump is behaving makes me think that he's going to go into a room and be like, get on board with this, or when I walk out, I'm going to shoot you. So technically, he won't do the shooting. It'll be a guy.
And what about if he puts people in jail? He has suggested that.
All of that stuff that he does is god awful. All the lawfare. If only we had an honorable man that, and listen, maybe I need to look more closely at him, but the person to me that played this chef's kiss is Nelson Mandela. How could we don't deserve Nelson Mandela, at least as my read of the situation goes. Locked in prison for 28 years, comes out and is like, no, we're not seeking retribution. We're going to have to do truth and reconciliation, but this is not about retribution. He ends up putting white people on a security detail. Everyone's freaking out because they're like, they're going to get you killed. But like all of that, like extension of grace and forgiveness and all that is exactly what you have to do. Trump is constitutionally incapable of doing that. That is a terrible fucking thing. So, yeah, to understand me, you have to understand, like, where do I think this goes? Like, play this person's personality out all the way. And if you play Trump's personality out all the way, he does not go to Hitler, in my estimation. Like, again, read about Hitler.
What's the worst case scenario then? If we played out, Trump leans into the communism, every press...
Trump isn't leaning into communism. Trump is leaning into state-controlled, more fascist-y, Hitlerian behaviors. So...
I was about to say, isn't that...
Okay, kids, I swear to God, I'm not going to say another word until you tell me back what I just fucking said.
He's going to lean into fascism, Hitlerian...
Yes. So, yes, keep going. What was the word that I've used over and over?
Profit?
Amplitude, motherfuckers.
Amplitude.
Like, how... He's not going to become Hitler. Let me tell you, here's a real thing that Hitler did. He would walk into a room. Hey, Drew, I don't like the things you're saying. Are you on board? No. Cool. Bye. Thanks. Best of luck on everything. Hitler walks out the room and it's like, why'd the bodyguard stay? And then the bodyguard shoots you in the fucking face. And I'm saying Trump's never going to do that.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever. Trump is never, if I end up being wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. Trump's never going to do that. It is not in his personality, in my opinion. So what I'm saying is, I believe that Mamdani is either malevolent or ignorant. Either way, I don't care. And he actually believes you can freeze rent and make things better.
And you
he
think
actually believes you can seize the means of
point
production and get better. He actually thinks that you can do less cops. He actually thinks that you can close Rikers Island. Like, he actually believes those things. They are so catastrophic that the amplitude of the problem is so much bigger. Okay? This is not me saying, guys, what are you doing? Trump's amazing. Just fucking do everything he said. No. But you've got a guy over here doing sort of middling level stupid shit. And then you have a guy over here that I'm like, ooh, the path that you're on, and he's not in office yet. I'm aware of that. But the path that you're on is murderous. It's murderous by nature. Now, we can all say Tom is wrong about that, but we can't say Tom is confused or Tom is inconsistent. I keep saying the same things over and over and over. Trump has authoritarian tendencies. Would you like to make a super compilation of all the fucking times I have said that Trump has authoritarian tendencies? We'd get a dozen examples at least, right? So I've been banging that drum forever. So if you want to know what path he's on, he is on the path of China. Now, people are going to say, but Tom, China is communist. No, China is the Communist Party in name, but they used, guess what? Capitalism to get out of poverty. And so what they have done is put the state inside of capitalism and said, but if you ever get too out of pocket, I'm going to make you disappear. Okay.
And you think Trump's going to end up being that?
I think Trump is...
Worst case scenario.
Trump is directionally in that place. If you said, hey, Trump locked up a big CEO because he said some shit that Trump didn't like, I'd be like, yeah, I'll fucking buy that. You don't have to push me hard to make me go, uh-huh. That's the kind of thing that I could see Trump doing. That's terrible. That's really bad. We don't want that. No, boo. Impeach. Get him out of office. Whatever you need. That is horrific. Trump should absolutely not marry the state to corporations. That's terrible. Immediately. Stop. Don't do it. Bang drums.
I feel like I got this side now. The worst case with Trump. Okay, he'll lock people up unwillfully. He'll turn into China. He'll re-educate some CEOs who dissent. But he's not going to walk into a room and kill people. He's not going to do mass genocides. He's not going to set up gas chambers.
Correct.
Mamdani, you're saying because of the policies that they want, so no cops, open Rikers Island, free buses, all these things. Once he plays those things out and they don't work, there's going to be a mob of people who dissent against him. And then he's going to then be forced to kill people or get eaten alive. And that's why you think Mamdani...
We're way too early. Mamdani is not going to kill people. There's no way. And if people think... I'm saying he is on a path of an ideology that by its nature becomes that murderous. That's why I'm saying you once asked me...
Oh, the ideology. So the no cops and free prison is going to kill people, not Mamdani himself. But he's going to usher that.
There's also that. But
I'm trying to understand the murderous part.
So here is my take on Mamdani. You once asked me directly about this. And so we have it on record from a while ago. I've called Mamdani a villain. And you said, like, is he like the super villain, the end all villain, something like that? And I said, no, the ideology is. Socialism, communism, that's your real problem. What I'm saying is Mamdani is the new face of that ideology gaining in popularity. Because I have an immunological response that is so extreme to that, I'm always going to freak out when I hear things about that. The right, when it goes like complete authoritarian, it's so visible. It's so obvious. Like, here's the question people need to ask. Mao and Stalin killed way more people than Hitler. I mean, way more, man. Way more. But nobody thinks of them as murderers. But everyone thinks of Hitler as being like the worst thing ever. Now, Hitler is god awful. I mean, just unbearably evil and terrible. But the scale and the efficacy of his system when it comes to killing, it's chump change.
Is it
Stalin? Ooh, buddy.
Okay, is it like...
But it's, hold on.
Yeah.
Because the thing I want to make sure everybody's hearing me, the reason I freak out is, how have they hidden in plain sight? How?
Stalin and Mao.
Yes. How the fuck is that happening?
Just as bad as Hitler.
Because they say things that sound nice. Hitler yells into a microphone. He sounds like a sociopath. He signals, I'm a sociopath. When Trump is bombing, drone striking boats, and they're like, oh, we got another one, bitches. Everyone's like, the fuck is that? That is crazy. Yay. Super visible. Mamdani's like, I'm going to make shit free. What do you mean? What the problem is? Bro, I love everybody. I'm going to make the buses free. They're going to be fast. I'm going to freeze rent. Come on, guys. This is all wonderful. And what I hear is, that's what fucking Mao said. So I'm just like, kids, Mao hid in plain sight, just fucking murdering people left, right, and center. I'm not saying Mamdani's going to murder. In fact, I don't even have that. I don't think Mamdani's going to murder at all. Now, if he does, I will end up being like, whoa, I did not see that coming. Now, I will say, yeah, ideology pretty much takes you down that path. But no, I don't think that about Mamdani. There's too many checks and balances. It's not where we're at right now. But I'm saying, play it out long enough, swap in a couple people, generation down the road. Yeah.
So I'm getting like Mamdani is at the beginning of the horror flick, Mamdani is a little kid that opens up the Ouija board and think he's just playing, and it's gonna bring up this whole,
like that,
you know what I mean? Like it's not him that's doing it, but he's the ushering this like ideology that has a slippery slope that leads to hundreds of millions of people dying. Is that a better
you're getting closer.
Yeah.
It's probably more like you're on a quest in a video game, and they say, all right, you need to first get the sword of drawing in order to call the demon forward. And it's like, go talk to Mamdani and he'll give you the sword of drawing. So he's like just a part of all of this. I don't want to over like state what he is. We called Mamdani forth. Trump is a symptom. He's not the cause. Mamdani is a symptom. He's not the cause. Mamdani's not the cause. Nobody should go after Mamdani. Nobody should be wanting ill on him or anything like that. Mamdani should be treated with all the courtesy and respect that one would treat somebody, anybody, your side or somebody else's side. You should want to debate the ideas. If you can't win through argumentation, then shut the fuck up and sit down. No one should visit. Like, if Mamdani can make New York a better place, then I'll clap. I just want New York to be a better place. I have a belief that the things he's going to do will be just absolutely god-awful. And I believe that you can just walk people through the cause and effect, and it will be very simple. But like, I'm perfectly willing, if he's winning, yeah, this is dope. Yay! I have a North Star. I have theories about what will take me there, but I don't know that they're correct. So anyway, again, if I met Mamdani, if I interviewed Mamdani, I would be courteous. I would be receptive. I would want to understand before I tried to, break the arguments apart. But then I would go after the arguments to the best of my terrible debating abilities. So that's how I see this. So yeah, if people think in my head, I'm thinking Mamdani must be stopped at all costs. I am not at all. So anyway,
I don't mean to step on you, Mason, but I see a couple comments popping up that I think we should talk about. So This Science Spark said, Tom, with respect, it's not really consistent to judge the Dems by their worst case potential and MAGA by their best case intentions. It's a clear double standard.
It's not. So here's the thing I really want people to understand. So binary thinking is very useful. It will help you make decisions, but it is also very detached from reality. And if you don't take amplitude into account, you are going to be eternally confused by the world. So people should be very concerned about where we're headed right now, regardless of who's in power. But when the person is in power, you want to look at like how far are they likely to go. You're going to make your best assumption about that, but the amplitude of the thing matters a lot.
So in your mind, the amplitude of Mamdani is young guy just got mayor of New York. Let's say he tricks a couple people for the next 4 years. Then he becomes governor of New York. Then he does the same policies, tricks a couple more people. Then he can become president. And that's why it's a slippery slope that ideology can grow because of the cultural energy he has. And if he's able
and
to keep it
the
together.
thing that I am really focused on is how much energy is going into the DSA, is going into socialism, is going into communism, is going against capitalism, like all the things at work. But this won't be a satisfying answer. So I want to get back to the direct thing that they were saying. So that I'm being unjustly kind and unfairly heavy-handed to one side. Okay, so first of all, to acknowledge my biases, I, as an individual person, believe that humans should be far more afraid of socialism and communism than they should be of state-run capitalism. Now, I've given all my reasons for that, but I forgive anybody that's like, well, I disagree. I think state-run capitalism is far more terrifying. Okay, well, we can debate the merits of that. But that will certainly explain why it seems like I go way harder on one side than on the other, because I'm more afraid of one side. I believe historically justly so, but I am far more afraid of that. There is a reason that China's done really fucking well for the last 40 years, and it isn't communism, because that's not the game they've been playing. The game they've been playing is state-sponsored capitalism. State-sponsored capitalism is terrifyingly effective in the short run. So it's like, I am far less afraid of that, though I am afraid of that. So I think that you have a problem of state-run surveillance on the left and the right, and I'm going to hate it from both of them in equal measure. But yeah, so that is I have my reasons. I'm not blind to it, but if anybody detects that I have a far bigger reaction to one side than the other, that would be why. I think it's completely justified, but that would be why. And then if you take them as individuals, it's interesting. If you take them as individuals, I'm probably far more worried about Trump than I am Mamdani. I think Mamdani is too young and doesn't have the connections to pull this off, but he sits on top of something that scares me far more. So what scares me right now is the rejection of capitalism, the embrace of socialism, some of the things. Like, if you guys haven't watched the DSA talk directly, they say things like, we need to abolish the family. That's so foundational and so terrifying. Okay, so flip it. And the right says we need to let's be very uncharitable. We need to be Christian nationalists. Okay, that's terrible, but that doesn't scare me like undermining the family. So now, hey, I need someone to balance me out cosmically, and maybe that's Brutus Lugo. And maybe Brutus Lugo is like, I'm way more terrified of Christian nationalism than I am of abolishing the family. Okay, great. And so now the world has different voices that they can listen to, which is exactly what I think should happen, which is why you don't hear me calling for Mamdani to be censored. You don't hear me calling for Nick Fuentes to be censored. Like, nope. I think all these people should be able to say their ideas. I think they're terrible. But I welcome that I have to fight them in the sphere of public opinion. So, yep, perfectly satisfied with that.
And to that point, I will concede that in the sense that in 2017, I'm sorry, when Obama won in 2008, there was a conservative party, there was a Republicans, and then there was a crazy Tea Party. And that crazy Tea Party was just this fringe people of racists who were mean and bigoted and all the bad things. And as we played that out, the Tea Party gained more steam. The classic Republicans, the grand old party, got pushed out. Then it became the conservatives versus the Tea Party versus MAGA. MAGA ate up the Tea Party. Then it became conservatives versus MAGA. And now even in the Republican Party, it's 80% MAGA, 20% traditional conservatives. There's no more Mitt Romneys. There's no more John McCain. So I will at least give you that directionally. The DSA is the only thing on the left that has any energy whatsoever. And the classic Democrats, the Chuck Schumers, the Hillary Clintons, they're already getting pushed out by some of the new further left people. So I can at least give you that there is this wave of people that can radically shift the sides of the Democratic parties, as in the Republicans and the Democrats, because we have seen it on the right or play out over the last 20 years. So I can at least see that valid as like a fear on the left happening.
Yeah. So going back to Mamdani as an individual versus Trump as an individual, Trump has a lot of money, and B, an insane amount of influence. He's so plugged in, and he's spent 50 years building a network. So in terms of like who's going to be more effective, now talking amplitude, Trump is going to be way more effective than Mamdani. So in terms of which of the individuals I think could end up wreaking more havoc in the next 10 years, clearly Trump. But if you want to know the ideology that scares me a lot more from an amplitude to go very, very wrong perspective, I've made that point over and over.
We got 2 super chats.
Let's do it.
Brutus Lugo.
Yeah.
Still on this
Super
point.
chat.
So why is it that you think Mamdani will lead us to Mao and Stalin type socialism and not Nordic country style socialism like he's actually proposing? Why do we become
Hold on.
Mao?
Wait. The Nordic countries are not socialist. And so anybody who thinks they are, please go research them. They are not socialist. They have huge social programs, but it's all democratically voted in. It's all socialism is, we are going to take over industries, do everything top down. The workers own the means of production, essentially. It's a very different ball game than what they're doing in the Nordic countries, which is all private markets all the time, but just everyone is taxed to death. And the thing that I don't think people realize about the Nordic countries is that the middle class is taxed. Low class, taxed. Everybody gets taxed. In America, the top 50% of earners pay 90% of the taxes, maybe more. It might be 97%. I mean, it's like really insane. So it's a very different ballgame. A very different ballgame. But they are not socialist, which is why they don't call themselves socialist.
Gotcha. Chad is saying that that's what Mamdani is proposing is democratic socialism. You need, it's, he is a part of the Democratic Socialists of America. They are, God, they have some other name, social democracy or something like that. It's very different. People need to start watching the DSA talk directly. Watch the DSA talk directly. If you're not freaked out, great. I was clutching my pearls, like in the extreme. They said the words, we need to abolish the family. What? Kids, we need to abolish the family. Do people not hear that? That is, hey, let's take that pillar that all of society stands on. Let's break that. And you do that because you want total control of the way that people think. That is so insane. So anyway, there are certain things that just are absolutely disqualifying, and that would be one of them. And I heard it directly from their own mouths. So they put it on the internet. They're not like shy about this shit. So you can go watch it. Go watch it.
The DSA is what Project 2025 is on the right. Project 2025 is this ominous, like, we're going to take everything away and make everybody Christian nationalists. And it's the worst case right-leaning manifesto like issue.
At this point, though, I think if you read Project 2025 and you hate it, that's what's happening. Whatever Trump tells you, that's what's happening.
That's what's happening. So that's the whole DSA argument of he's not really DSA. He just likes when they vote for him.
No. He admits he's a part of the DSA. Like no one's arguing that, right?
I haven't seen that. But
he calls himself a democratic socialist. He's not hiding. He says who he is. And I just don't think people are believing him, which is crazy.
We've got one thing in chat that I just really want you to read.
Oh, hold on. Our tuition. People have done it before in history. He's saying that abolishing the family is impossible. No, it's not. So, yeah.
And also, if you
look that one.
if you really think about it, what's abolishing a family? Making marriage not cool. Saying it's okay not to have kids. Now you have a whole generation that's not married and don't have kids. What is that? Not a family.
Kids are the responsibility of the state. Hey, California, I'm looking at you. If the school, for instance, can work with the kid to do something against the parent's wish, you are undermining the family. So yeah, it is excruciatingly dangerous.
What's your response to John Doe saying families do need to be abolished? Most of them are dysfunctional, and the state is probably a more caring parent than an addict or sex criminal parent.
God.
Jeez,
So listen, there are certainly individual cases where you would say, okay, this is bad. And by the way, every theory is autobiographical. So I am sorry if you grew up in a way where you did not get something positive from a family. There's nothing I hate more than how much our childhood matters. And childhood is a roll of the dice, man. So you did not do anything to deserve a bad childhood, but it sounds like perhaps you had one. So truly, with the most empathy in the world, I am very sad to hear that. But nonetheless, the state, look at what happened. I think it was in Romania, where during the war, they took a bunch of kids from their family and they raised them in these large orphanages, which were supposed to be better for the kids. And it just ended up fucking absolutely decimating an entire generation. Unfortunately, Australia has some blood on their hands. America has some blood on their hands, where they took kids away from the natives and tried to Australianize them or Americanize them. Like, it's just god awful what ends up happening. So yeah,
I got the video of the DSA claiming Mamdani. He has distanced himself, but they're claiming him. This is what I found out.
Also, didn't somebody just said that his chief of staff is a DSA member? No, I don't have that verified. But
yeah, I don't have that.
To see state power that we can be in, because we're like this, right? DSA has regular meetings with him, let alone his team. His policy director is my friend. I've been working with his campaign manager for well over a year.
People come to DSA by way of Zoran, that's awesome, but then we can help them become more radicalized. So Zoran is his first step, and then all of a sudden you're doing all kinds of awesome organizing.
He said, I'm going to get socialists to vote for me, and I'm going to get Muslims to vote for me. Zoran himself, who's about to become the mayor of the largest city in the United States, is facing the same attacks that undocumented immigrants just trying to get a job at Home Depot are facing right now.
They're sort of
I think we got
off and now. But
to be fair, he has distanced himself during the campaign from the DSA, but they're claiming him. So this is why he can't beat those allegations.
Yeah, this is like Trump saying, "Oh, Project 2025, what is it again?" Like,
and then meanwhile, he just his checklist is just scratching off everything.
Yeah. Yup.
Marusha's saying that AOC is DSA. Is that true?
I don't know. AOC is part of the Mamdani energy, so I certainly wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. I don't know how far she goes.
Gotcha.
By the way, Marusha, it was awesome seeing you in the live yesterday. Shout out. Saw you in the chat.
Shout out. A couple people gave you love in the live. So shout out to everybody who joined. Also, shout out to everybody who watched the Destiny interview. I'm seeing a lot of back and forth on that. There was talk before we started, so thank you guys for the support.
No doubt.
The interviews have been doing a lot better lately, so thank you for that. We're going to super chats and everything.
We already got through them.
Bang! Let's do it.
Let's
All right.
go.
We got to talk about it just to put a bow into this whole government shutdown. The Supreme Court has decided to continue their pause on SNAP payments. Now, early reports was like this is kind of like a win, like the Supreme Court sided with Trump. But the word on the Capitol Hill streets is they realize that the shutdown is about to happen. They don't want to overstep their bounds. How do you feel about the Supreme Court saying, like, we'll stay out of this, leave it to the lower courts, we'll pause it until Thursday, and then we'll reconvene if it still hasn't been kind of opened?
I tend to be like, the reason you have the Supreme Court is you've got nine. You've got 9 people that are going to do battle. They're some of the brightest legal minds in the world. And if they come to a consensus, I'm perfectly happy to rock with it. Like, the very reason that we have a Supreme Court, so I don't have to think through this shit. Now, we have occasionally, you and I, gone through and actually read the stuff. And if something gets big enough, then I'll really dive in. But that, I want checks and balances. I want a government that finds itself with a filibuster and gets ground to a halt. Even I'm just so like, but when the other side has it, they will wield that power against you. So I want there to be gridlock. In fact, if you go back to when you and I first started doing this, one of the things I said was, yeah, gridlock is a good thing. So I stand by that. So if the Supreme Court is like, yep, this is good, cool, perfect, love it. But if they vote against something that I love, I'm still going to be like, okay, well, cool. So on Snap, I think we have a problem that needs to be addressed. So the fact that they didn't force Trump to fund it during a government shutdown seems very reasonable to me. If the government isn't functioning, like, you've got to have some sort of pressure that brings people back to the table. So it's like, what is the system? And if they're saying the system is like, hey, this one's not important enough to make its way to us, go back down to the lower courts. Okay.
Yeah. This feels like they had to intervene, but I think it's kind of like intervention. Like, I feel like the Supreme Court should intervene on very important things that are pressing, and not like...
The Supreme Court technically isn't intervening. They're just giving you this is what we believe the Constitution says.
Yeah.
So this is what we think is meant or supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. And not like, here's one thing that I have a bad feeling if I started looking closely at this, I'd be really mortified by activism in judging, which is not at all what it's supposed to be. Judges are there to be like, no, you're misunderstanding the law. The law actually says this. It is not meant to be people trying to be clever to figure out what they believe. Like, the most finding a way for what they believe to make its way through like a gymnastic style interpretation of the law. What I want to see in judging are people whose entire moral compass is about, it doesn't matter what I want to be true of the world. I am here to enforce the laws on the books to be the fact that the iconography of justice is blind and scales. So it's like, you're supposed to be blind and balanced. Yeah, yes, please. Like, that is precisely what I'm interested in. I want somebody whose mode of existing in the world is, I can set aside my own beliefs and say, my job is to give you the most faithful interpretation of the law, and here it is. And at a headline level, because that's admittedly where I'm at with judging nationwide, at a headline level, it really does seem that you've got some very meaningful percentage of judges that are just like, I've got an agenda and I'm going to push that agenda forward. And I really hate that.
I think we're kind of in that politicized environment now, that people want to grandstand, and people like, I think it should be like, it's your job is to do this thing. Be quiet. And
also, we're in a populist moment, and people are just so convinced they're right. Ugh, I really hate that.
Okay, so before the Democrats caved on the
show. My wife is popping off here. I think she watched something about how judges don't need a law degree, which is wild.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
I still can't believe that's true. I haven't looked into it enough to have the level of irate that she may be edging up towards. But by the way, my love, it's so wonderful to see you. So yeah, that is admittedly very, very weird. I like to believe that you don't become a Supreme Court justice without also being a legal scholar. Lord knows, I may be shocked to find that that's not true.
Yeah, that's wildly. I must put my foot down, because
and say they are or are not.
Everybody on the Supreme Court is 100% qualified, has law degrees from the best top Ivy League schools, has just like you. There's hills to cross before you could do that. That is not a trucking exam that you could pick up when you first come to America. So let's not conflate those two. I feel like there got to be one office in America that we still have trust in. So Supreme Court hasn't been messed up yet.
Now, I will say term limits on SCOTUS is interesting. KB, I see you.
Yeah, especially when that one person died.
As long as they don't have to run for re-election. It's like, let's say it's a 10-year stint. I could get behind that. That way it doesn't
Yeah. Do you always want justices to cycle in and out, though?
Meaning, do they all have the same 10-year, or it should be staggered aggressively?
No, every 10 years, is it a new... Oh, you're saying stagger that. It's okay. 4 out of the full... every 4 is year one.
Or even less, like maybe 2 go in any 1 year, something like that. So that you're always getting fresh blood, but there's always like a group of people. The majority of them stay the same. There's actually a study done on this that was like the Broadway shows that do the best are like teams of roughly 7 in size. 5 have worked together before and 2 are new. If you have all 7 have worked together, they don't come up with new ideas. If you have too many new people, there's not enough trust. But if you have that right balance of most people have worked together before, but you've got these new ideas in there, becomes the perfect mix. It's always made a lot of sense to me. So getting something like that on the Supreme Court, so it's not, because the whole idea of it's for life was to make sure that people couldn't be politically pressured to vote to give a certain ruling. And I would want to keep that. But at the same time, the idea that when you vote somebody in, you might be voting them in for like 50 years, that's wild. So yeah, I think it would be far better to put some reasonable number, 10 years, 15 years, probably not much more than that. But also I wouldn't want to see it less than that either.
Yeah.
And then staggered so that the mix up every 2 years is a little bit different.
No, I'm with you. And I feel like the Supreme Court does need to have some reform. I'm just worried that if we do too much, the old, I need to preserve the Constitution leg of it, I don't want to lose that either. Because I feel like getting a younger person every, like, in 30 years, everybody's 27 on the Supreme Court now. It's like, well, the Constitution didn't really mean this. You know what I mean? I want to make sure we want to.
Yeah.
I do want some old gray people up there to be like, back in my day.
Yes, but you don't have to make them be there for a long time to get old people on there. Now, I don't know what the history is if people tend to get elected in their 40s and then stay, or if it's like it's all over the map and it's just whoever happens to be the best. That I don't know. There obviously will be a median age. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. All right, we got to talk about this because it's hit Twitter like a boulder over the weekend. Trump proposed 50-year mortgages, comparing himself to President Roosevelt, who ushered in a 30-year mortgage, and now President ushering a 50-year.
Bro, like, first of all, Roosevelt, I'm reading a book right now called 1929 about the crash. I have a feeling, I haven't finished it yet, so I could be totally wrong, but from things that I've heard, things that I've read, and then this new book, I have a feeling that Roosevelt is a villain. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll reserve my final judgment. So anyway, any president tying themselves to like more socialized, not socialism, but socialized stuff, especially right now, like, goddamn. But anyway, I get the 50-year mortgage. I understand like what he's trying to do, because technically it's like you can pay it off early, but by dragging it out to 50 years, you keep the interest rate lower. So for somebody that's like, oh, listen, I could afford a 30-year mortgage, but I'm going to get into this 50, keep my rate low, gives me more flexibility, and then I'll pay it off at an accelerated rate as my lifestyle allows for it. It's not a terrible idea in that way. It is a sign of sickness. That's what makes me sad, is like, no. This is like insulin injections. So, okay, if somebody's a type 2 diabetic, I'm glad insulin exists because I don't believe that person deserves to die or just to be left to rot. But at the same time, it is entirely controllable through their diet. Not mostly controllable. It is entirely controllable through their diet. So I would want to see us solve that problem rather than inject people with insulin. And just as a speed run, make more houses. Make more houses, put some limits on corporations buying them up. If you even want to block foreign people from coming in and buying up houses, yay, no problem. There was also a very distressing graph that I saw yesterday that was like in the last 10 years or something, the number of immigrants that have been able to secure federal loans. And I don't know if it was undocumented immigrants. I'll reserve and say no, just immigrants. But like the number of loans going to immigrants is like literally skyrocketing. And it went from like 1.5% to 6%.
No way a legal alien can secure a mortgage.
Well, you've seen those. They can and do. But
you know how much paperwork that is?
Yeah, I know.
You know how grueling it was? I had to do background checks. Bro. Somebody gave me a graduation gift. I had to write letters. No way. Yeah. I'm calling BS on that.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
There was a video that went around like a month ago that was like this couple, they were undocumented. So they could have been asylum seekers. This is where it gets messy. If you consider an asylum seeker just a normal immigrant, okay, then it's going to look very different on paper. But if somebody who came across the border illegally, but then goes, I'm here for asylum, they suddenly, magically, they're now in a totally different camp. And given that we changed the definition of asylum to anybody that is fleeing a worse economic condition, it's basically everybody. So it becomes, this is a big part of the government shutdown, was like, they're not illegals. And it's like, well, if they came here illegally and then just said, but it's worse off back home, and then you magically made them legal, like, did we really care? Admittedly, I think the right is beating that drum unnecessarily, where it's like they're always just saying illegals, illegals, illegals. And I know they don't actually always mean illegals. And so anyway, that one feels sort of as bad faith as everybody pretending, no, what do you mean? Like, there's no problem. These are just foreign-born Americans. It's like, all right, easy, chief. We've got to be a little bit more discerning than that. So anyway, a few things you could clear up. Housing prices would start coming down. The problem is, remember, gain and retain. Why are housing prices so high? Because homeowners don't want their home values to go down. And I get it. But nonetheless, that is the problem. And so they go bang on the door of their congressman. They're like, how dare you? Don't let that new house or apartment complex or whatever be built in my neighborhood. Here's what I would say. Build all that shit and then police the living fuck out of it. Now, if you do that, you're not going to have to worry about crime and all of that because they are going to get hammered down. And then you can get like all the lovely, it's more people for sure. And I get not everybody's going to like that. But if it's safe, I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. I went down a rabbit hole and stumbled across Adam Livingston, who had a very spicy take about the 50-year mortgage.
I like spice.
Can you hit play on that? I don't know what's wrong with my button. This is the same thing that happened to you, Eric, with the play button. Oh.
I don't see Eric reaching for buttons.
What's happening? Is that? Go ahead, click it. It's really not working? This is crazy. Okay, basically what he's saying is that you can leverage this.
Hold on. I have to publicly shame. So if we have been struggling with this for a while, which we have, we're a year deep into this, we got to figure it out. If we got to buy a whole new system, buy a whole new system, whatever. But literally every time we click that button, it needs to play. Yeah? Yay. Uh-huh. So,
all right, let me do it.
Wait. I need to know. We're saying Twitter is broken right now. This is our thesis.
Itself. So today's lesson is simple. Become the patient zero of generational wealth by turning your mortgage into a nuclear Bitcoin warhead, while the rest of your neighbors are getting fleeced by 30-year fiat contracts and safe boomer math that should be a crime. I made 2 posts on X that went extremely viral, literally over 2 million views total, talking about the new 50-year mortgage, okay? Now, I don't advocate for societal debt slavery. All I'm saying is that if they exist, you can ride the wave of societal collapse. I'm seeing every single geriatric who loves CNBC. They're waddling into my risk tolerance can handle. Just look at the real terms advantage. It's very obvious.
Okay. I have an interview coming out with Robert Breedlove in the very near future. I love Robert Breedlove. He's a good person. We are friendly. I wouldn't expect him to call me if he was locked in a Thai prison, but we are friendly. I hate the way that he looks at societal collapse. He would not use those words, but I will. Where it's like, well, Tom, what's the problem? There's a life raft. I know the water's 12 degrees, but yes, the vast majority of people on the boat are going to drown. They'll freeze to death probably before they drown. But anyway, they're all going to die. But anybody who wants in, the life raft can jump in. And I'm like, yeah, but there's like this weird combo on the life raft, and the vast majority of people just aren't going to be able to do that combo, not while they're freezing to death anyway. And they're just perfectly fine because they're in the life raft. And I'm just like, I really hate that. So look, maybe I'm just a chump. That really is entirely possible. And I got a weird fucking roll of the dice, and I just cannot just ride off into the fucking sunset and
while the Titanic is sinking
somewhere where no mosquitoes at. I can't do it. My poor wife. So that is both true and grotesque. And so it's like, all right, listen, as a PSA, boys and girls, get an investing strategy. Nobody knows what's going to happen, least of all me. So anybody that gives you an answer like, just go buy a bunch of Bitcoin, who the fuck knows? Mm-hmm. But do the research, figure out cause and effect, get a thesis that you're willing to bet against. I'll point you, I did this in the episode that just released. Yeah, I think it was the one that came out on Monday, a deep dive, where I cover sort of the 3 all-weather strategy people. You can do a Buffett, like fundamentals approach. You can do a Ray Dalio all-weather strategy, or you can do a Lynn Alden sort of modified all-weather strategy. I think all 3 of those are great. Learn about them, decide for yourself what you want to do. Please do something. But can we all collectively agree that it's gross that we just go, well, as long as I'm safe? I just really don't like that. But I don't have a great answer. I don't know how to simplify these topics enough to make sure that we save everybody. It's why I bang the drum. You have to stop the Titanic from sinking, period. That is the thing I come back to every time. There are enough life rafts for everybody, and it's sort of a weak analogy, but it's close, that yes, there's enough life rafts for everybody, but there is a weird fucking code. It's like a puzzle in a video game. They can be solved, but like sometimes they're just confusing, and you're so busy and you're fucking freezing to death. And so your brain is like sort of offline, and the freezing to death in this example is you're already having a hard time making ends meet. You're trying to raise kids. You're fucking working a job that you hate. AI's coming for everything that you hold dear, and you're just like panicking. And also, I hate to say it out loud, intellect matters. And so some people just did not get a good roll of the dice there. And so they're on the boat and they can't figure out the fucking puzzle to get into the life raft. And so if when I get in the life raft with you and you're sipping cognac and smoking a cigar, you will forgive me if I want to headbutt the bridge of your nose. That's only emotion. It's only emotion. But anyway, we need to open the door and say, hey, motherfucker, in the boat, plug the goddamn hole. And the hole is deficit spending. So we're back to why I get angry at the big, beautiful bill. I really want to call it the BBC True. I may have sold myself on it. The big, beautiful catastrophe, BBC for short. Yeah. So that's horrible. The DSA is horrible. All of them just want to spend money. Modern monetary theory. Can we play my favorite clip? Can we keep that on hand? It's been a while. I've really been sober and I've not asked this to be played in 4 months. I need to play it one more time. I want to remind everybody the clip that we're about to watch is from one of Biden's senior economic advisors explaining modern monetary theory. It is, this is gallows humor. I want to be very clear. There he is. This is one. Okay, hold on. I need to pause. I need it from the very beginning. I need the volume all the way up. This is my indulgent moment. I'm going to stare into the abyss for a minute. Okay, here it comes. This is Biden's senior economic advisor explaining modern monetary theory. If you want to understand why you are where you are, this video sums it up. Here we go.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do?
He doesn't know.
Stop. They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to
You're in a simulation. This is the worst NPC dialogue of all time.
I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about.
He doesn't get it. He literally doesn't get it. This is so wild. This video radicalized me. When I watched this, I was like, oh, wait. What? This is so wild. This is so wild. He really...
trying to figure it out as he's
Bro,
talking.
okay,
Figure it out
he
live.
is, which he does not do a good job of. P.S. by the way, but he's a senior economic advisor. What the fuck?
Somebody said this is an SNL skit. No, that was real.
Bro,
real documentary that actually played on TV.
Life. I cannot believe that was like, I started using that in so many of my deep dives. Finally, I was like, I got to stop using this. But oh my God, I can't believe this is real. I don't know. I'm actually sweating. I am legitimately perspirating right now because that video fills me with laughter, massive amounts of anxiety. I just cannot believe that that's real. I can't believe that's real, but that's real. That is real. Dude.
What, like
So
how does that happen though? Because like, I guess yes, the economy is very complicated, but like, isn't there one adult in the room? Shouldn't somebody be like, hey guys?
Okay. People want to know why I voted for Trump. That video and Kamala Harris going, we're going to cap grocery prices. I was like, and do an unrealized gains tax. I was like, nope, I'm out. Like that is somebody who's like, the Titanic is sinking. I would like to make this hole bigger, and I'm not letting anyone on the life raft fuck all of you. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, we just can't, no, hard pass. So, man, it is, dude, listen, every time I think I understand the economy, I listen to Scott Bessent and realize, oh shit, like, as the island of my knowledge grows, so grows the shore of my ignorance. Mm-hmm. So I realize, there's more and more things that I don't know. I would not have known how to break the back of the British pound. So, oh my God, Scott Adams, I don't know enough about him to know if I should be like, is he evil or is he amazing? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But admittedly, he comes across my feed from time to time. And yesterday, I should have saved it. It's one of those where I'm like, is this going to stick to my ribs? He said, who do you fear more? In fact, go. It's worth reading. It's Scott Adams' thought experiment. Scroll down. Let's see if we can find it really fast. It's all text. Was that it? Mm-mm. Nope. It's like he lists, wait. You can't go this fast.
I got you.
Do you know where it is?
No, I'm just scrolling through. He says yesterday, so I was going to go through the last day.
Oh, well, it came across my feed yesterday. It doesn't mean that it was yesterday. Scott Adams' thought experiment. You may want to add IQ. Yeah, add IQ and see if it pops up. Here it is. Okay, let me read this. Scroll. Yep. All right. Scott Adams' thought experiment. You walk into a room to compete in an IQ test. Which group scares you more? Room 1, Victor Davis Hanson, Ben Shapiro, Scott Bessent, Jordan Peterson, Thomas Massey, Mike Benz, David Sachs, Elon Musk. Room 2, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Eric Swalwell, Adam Schiff, Jamie Raskin, Chuck Schumer, Bernie Sanders, Mayor Brandon Johnson. Be honest, which room are you begging to leave? And I will tell you, if we're talking about the economy, any room that Scott Bessent is in, I am begging to leave. Like, this guy he's like S tier economically. Doesn't mean he's moral. I don't know. I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's a good person. I've not looked closely enough. I am saying this motherfucker understands the economy. And so going from Biden, who already was Weekend at Bernie's, and then his senior economic advisor literally did not understand the economy. And remember, I think economy is like problem number 1. And then now we get Bessent. You're in a much better position. So there are people that understand the economy. They just weren't running the government for the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. So it is now, how do you get the average voter to understand the economy? That's the part that I'm like, every time. Now, remember, I know that, like, compared to Scott Bessent, I don't even understand what the fuck is going on. Mm. But the amount that I do understand is robust, and it is getting more robust by the day. And every time I go to explain the economy, like, as simply as I can, you trip over these moments where you're like, okay, I either oversimplify to the point of lying, mm-hmm. or I lose this person. it's all so interconnected that it is really tough. It's really tough. But modern monetary theory is, I won't say easy to understand, but it's easy enough to understand that that guy should absolutely retire immediately in shame, because if you've ever accepted a dollar to talk to anybody about the economy and that's your explanation of modern monetary theory, you can't do it.
Man. All right, let's jump into Scott Bessent setting the record straight on the Argentinian currency swap.
Yeah, speaking of, like, we got to play this out because you got to see him like bite the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to our viewers what is going on with Argentina, because the U.S.
No, this isn't the
Treasury
one. Or does she show the clip? Is this a nested clip? There's one where, and maybe it is this, but there's one where a reporter tries to do a gotcha on him. I want to make sure that's what we...
The one that was here was a 15-minute. I don't know if you have a time code to jump to it. I couldn't go through it, so I went to that when that poll just...
I think it happens right at the beginning, so press play.
Amid this discussion of costs and prices and affordability, how does a $20 billion bailout of Argentina help Americans?
Do you know what a swap line is?
It's currency swap, yes.
Yes, but what is that?
You're the Treasury Secretary.
Yes, but why would you call it a bailout?
That is how...
In most bailouts, you don't make money. The U.S. government
should have
money.
let that hang, because he had the guy dead to rights. Mm-hmm. And as an interviewer, if you're going to go on the attack, you better know your cause and effect. And I think I'm a terrible debater. So I will only get spicy on stuff where I'm like, I can build this up from cause and effect. So if somebody gives me an argument that breaks my cause and effect, then I can be like, I know right where to slot that piece of information in. Cool, understood. Thank you for updating my mental model. Mm-hmm. And if they can't break my cause and effect, well, then I just keep going. This leads to this, leads to this, leads to this. Point to the part in that sequence that is incorrect. Mm-hmm. And it becomes much easier. This guy went on the attack as a partisan hack, basically, and didn't have cause and effect, didn't even understand what he was trying to bite him on. Mm-hmm. And if Bessent had just sat there and said, what is it? The guy would have been like, I don't fucking know, man. Mm-hmm. And so then he's going to have to double down in well, you're the Treasury Secretary. You're the one that we pay to understand this. But at least it would have been clear. And Bessent could have been like, look, this is part of the problem. If I were coaching him, I'd be like, this is where you go. This is part of the problem. You guys are fighting my agenda all the time. But the reality is you don't understand it. And because you don't understand it, you're going to feel like you know what I should be doing. But the reality is you don't understand the cause and effect of the economy. And people that do not understand the cause and effect of the economy should be very careful trying to put forward economic policy. And so here's how it works. And then you just lay out as briefly as you can what the cause and effect is, that this isn't a bailout, that anybody that's using that is either ignorant or they're being a partisan hack. And the way that these things work is they're actually a revenue generating opportunity. He goes on to explain it, so we'll let him go. But yeah, messaging. You got to win the messaging game. All right, let's hear it.
Oops. The Treasury Secretary Bessent joins us now to talk about this. Sir, good to have you here in the studio.
Hey, Rob, good to see you again.
That was, I thought, the best moment of the morning. I enjoyed watching it. The entire media, and I mean the entire media, has been slamming you and the Democrat Party as well for this move that was made with Milei. They know Milei is a very close friend of the president's, their allies. But it sounds like nobody actually knows exactly what you guys have just done. And I think everybody figured it out this morning.
I think so, Rob. And look, we used the U.S. balance sheet to bolster a great ally of the United States. I call it the peace through economic strength. And how much better to put up the credit and full faith in the United States government, make money, and bolster an ally rather than end up with something like we've got with the Maduro regime, where we're having to target these drug ships and take military action.
I missed it.
The question was, how is this good for Americans? It's great for Americans.
So,
because
I mean, listen, all the vitriol, the back and forth, all that stuff really does make me sad, because you're backing people into a corner unnecessarily, and nobody gets it more than me. I understand, even the way I'm talking right now doesn't have the bombast that it needs to have for us to retain viewers. I'm so aware of that. But Anyway, it makes me sad that that's where we're at. But so Besant is somebody that people, I think he says it in this or maybe the interview with, what's her face, Laura something, where he's like, he was more understated than I'm about to be. But basically, I fucking murdered it on Wall Street. I had a career there. Like I try to remind people when I'm teaching business, I try to remind people, yes, I make millions of dollars a year teaching people business, but I've made over $1 billion, billions of dollars running businesses. So it's like the thing that I'm teaching you how to do, I used to just do. There were no cameras. There was just, I run businesses. It's what I do. And they generate billions of dollars in revenue. So Besant is an economic gangster. Like he was on Wall Street. You either figure it out or you go broke. And he made himself, I think he's a multi-billionaire. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure. He was part of the team that made $1 billion in a single day, which is fucking wild. So it's like, this is somebody, this is why I revere Ray Dalio so much, that people can talk a big game, but if they put their own money at risk and they walk away with like some big W's, they know what they're doing. The guy that we were watching, the MMT guy who couldn't explain MMT, he's not winning in the marketplace. That's a guy that knows the right people, gets cushy consulting jobs. Besant is an economic gladiator. He's in the ring going up against like governments and other economies and like that. Do you know how crazy it is to risk your own money trying to break the back of the British pound? Because if you're wrong, you lose all the money that you were using to force them to capitulate. And so it's like, man, you've got some brass cojones. And if you win, it means you actually understood something. And this is a guy that won over and over and over and over and over. Now you can say that Wall Street is immoral, fine, but you've got a guy that knows how to play that game. And so you've put him in a position where it's like, all right, you've like made this insane amount of money winning in economics. And now I'm going to put you in charge of the largest economy in the world. Let's go. So it's like, I still don't know if these guys are going to pull it off. But again, if people want to understand why I appear to be less like drum bangy on these guys, I'm looking at them going, if anybody's got a shot to pull us out of the economic morass that we're in, it's them. I think that they're still making catastrophic errors. But at the same time, they've got a shot. They've got a shot. So I don't know that I love the risk that we took on Argentina when I look at it from the way that they're billing it, which is basically, oh, we made a bunch of money. Almost certainly a stupid idea to do from that perspective. It's just not enough risk and reward. But when you put it in the context of, please remember, you're in Thucydides' trap with China. And they understand that. And so for Besant and Trump, this was a move to protect us from China. Like we are in a battle with China, a Cold War battle right now with China for South America. And so they saw an opportunity where it's like, okay, you have a very popular leader. Remember, something like 72% of all people under 34, that number is directionally correct. It's not literally correct. But 72-ish% of all people under 34 voted for Milei. So the youth of Argentina are 100% on his side. Like they want what he's doing to work. And so he's very pro-America. He's certainly pro-capitalism. So anyway, I get from that perspective why they did it. But it's been interesting to hear Besant clap back on people.
People coming at him. And then keeping on Scott Besant, after Trump announced it over the weekend as well about a possible tariff dividend, Scott Besant confirmed that, or announced that the 2000 tariff stimulus checks will most likely be going out to all Americans who make less than $100K a year. Similar to what they did over COVID. I think 80K was like the threshold there or something like that. So it's one of those things where it sounds good, but to my inflation expert next to me, it seems like all free money ain't good money. Is this, if they do 1-for-1 with the tariff revenue that they do, some estimates have it around, they'll need $300 to $600 billion in order to make these payments work, depending on where they cut the income lines, and kids and things like that. Is that something that then goes, okay, if they just do the tariff revenue 1-for-1, it's balanced, you're cool with it? Or is it still this is money being injected into the system, and that can have some second order consequences we're not thinking about.
It will definitely have second and third order consequences. Not that we're not thinking about. I mean, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. Stock market's going to pump because what happens is people get the money. Some people just spend it. If you spend it, whatever you're spending it on, people watch that and go, ooh, that's hot. So they go buy the stock. Some people look at it and go, I just got extra money. And I know that I have to hide from the inflation that that's going to cause. So they're going to go into assets. So the stock market will pump. You'll get a rally in Pokemon cards. You'll also get a rally in One Piece cards. Shout out to One Piece. Hopefully Gundam as well, because those are the two I collect. And I literally couldn't care less about the amount of money. But anyway, that's exactly what's going to happen. Assets are going to pump everywhere. It won't be real wealth because we're still just gaining so much debt. But I heard today that the Trump administration actually has slowed our debt to GDP growth. They claim it actually came down. But by like 1/10 of a point or something, but still, hey, that's, we're certainly moving in the right direction. So if these guys were really making big wins with the debt to GDP ratio and that 122 was suddenly 121, was suddenly 120, then I'd be like, okay, well, if you guys need to put a little bit in the pocket of people so that you don't have a political vulnerability, because let's all be clear, for all of my beefs right now, if you said I've got a left-leaning candidate that can win with the AOC, Mamdani, Bernie wing of the party, and somebody on the right, I'm going to go with the person on the right. Almost certainly. I mean, I need to look at their policies and all that. It's possible that they put a lunatic up. But I'm going to guess they're going to be pushing forward more things like what they're doing. So if they're getting debt to GDP going down, I'm not a one issue voter, but I'm very close. And so if they've got that number going down and they say, listen, the number's going down, it's going to keep going down, and we're going to do a bad thing and we're going to send out some stimmy checks just so that we bribe the American people to keep doing the right thing, I'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. But yes, like that's just, it's going to create more bubbles. So, I mean, here's part of the problem is you'll prolong the bubble, and that there is some good to that, but oh God. So here's what you're doing. You're doing a couple stools, a couple legs of the beautiful deleveraging stool. So you have to be careful, because if you don't do them all well, then you just get yourself back in trouble. But anyway, if I saw debt to GDP going down, which is your big indicator, and they were putting the money directly in the hands of the people, then it's like, okay, like that buys you a little bit something. But it is that sort of beautiful deleveraging where you're doing a bad thing, but like you're doing the politically expedient thing.
Yeah. Let's hit these super chats.
Cool. First up from Adam Majoria. About running the government as a business, I thought it was great, but now I see that good business moves would be drastic action to protect the business at all cost. If the government takes drastic action to protect itself, the cost will be the people.
Facts. So yeah, if you are, if you look at the government as a living organism that, just like an individual, has every impulse to stay alive, no matter what that means. And you think of the government as the same. The government wants to grow, wants to get bigger, wants to get more funding. It wants to stay alive. That's just what it is. This is why oftentimes this is why historically governments have always moved in cycles. They start lean and mean, they get bloated, they die. And then what rises from the ashes is once again lean and mean. And then it's great. And it grows, and then it gets fat, and then it dies. And it just over and over and over, because we cannot help ourselves. And so if I can just be rage at the programmer of the Matrix for a second, it's like, it's just bad NPC programming. Like, unless you're really trying to create this endless loop, like you have to have a break on that, and we don't. And so the only reason the system resets is that we like get to a point where we just kill each other real fast. There's so much bloodshed. Everybody's so poor for so long that you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so then the war stops and people are conciliatory because they're just fucking tired. They're just tired. Like when you've lost your kids or your best friend or all of the above, you just suddenly go, I just don't care enough anymore. And I want to go back to the way that life was. And that is the reset mechanism. And that very much feels like a programmer who's like in fucking Unreal Engine. He's got some blueprints. He's got to turn it in on Monday. It's fucking late Sunday. And he's like, God damn it. And so he's just like, all right, fuck. Like they're going to end in war every 150, 200 years, whatever. It resets. I'll put some spin on that's cool and we'll go. And that is real life.
Also, Adam, I didn't realize that was a $50 super chat. So thank you. Really appreciate it.
Damn. Let's go, Adam.
Damn, thank you.
Next up from Jeremy Layden. I don't like this reverence for Scott Bessent. What about his relationship with Robert Citrone and how much he benefits from Argentina?
Yeah. I get it. No beef with that criticism. I feel your pain. I think it was in my last deep dive that we did an ominous reference to Scott Bessent. So, yup. Yeah. Don't I wish that we just had some, we just had I was going to say if we just had an army of Nelson Mandelas, even Nelson Mandela went to prison. I don't think he killed anybody, but he did set off a bomb. So it's like, yeah.
All right, let's jump into some, I don't even know what to call this type news, but Elijah Schaffer, CEO of Rift TV, some of you might know him, is being sued for $5 million over his ex post criticizing the FBI director Kash Patel's girlfriend. This is gross lawfare. He's calling it
gross lawfare.
Candace retweeted it saying, apparently when governments and people in powerful positions get caught lying, their only weapon is to sue people. It is absolutely pathetic, and it's more meant to scare us into silence. We will bankrupt you. These people should be treated with contempt.
This, I gotta say, whatever you think about Candace, that tweet is bang on.
Mm-hmm.
This, you don't hate lawfare enough. I will just tell you that right now.
Yeah. Here we'll play the beginning of this. This is him outlining the entirety of the lawsuit.
Yeah, this is bad.
Concerning news that I was being sued for $5 million by Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. And the reason why might actually shock you. About a couple months ago, I posted this photo on the public social media platform X. I posted it with no caption, no suggestions of any malintent or any slander, defamation, or criticisms of character. I did so attached to an X post shared by another account that I'm not connected to that talked about government agents being compromised. Now Alexis Wilkins is saying that I owe her $5 million for damages, the exact evaluation of my company, and if I cannot come up with that money, that I'm going to have to shut down my business, give up all of my digital assets and my entire voice online in order to pay her back. So
this is crazy.
Yeah.
That okay. So, obviously being in the public eye, you get to the point where people say enough horrible shit about you, that you go, all right, am I going to pursue people or am I just going to have some, testicle fortitude? And bro, if somebody posts a photo of you insinuating in a trolly manner that you're a honeypot or whatever, like fucking deal with it. Like, oh God, like, I don't understand. Like, it is going to be used against you. When you do this kind of thing, then somebody looks for the opportunity to do it back to you. Letitia James, I'm looking at you. It's like, it's terrible when either side does it, but like, don't be a part of the problem. So God, you'd have to do like, even, in fact, dear Nintendo, what the actual fuck are you doing with your Pal World lawsuits? Like, that's wild. So if they went after them for a trade dress problem, that I would kind of understand. Because they really do look exactly like fucking Pokemon. But they didn't go after them for that. They went after them for game mechanics. It's like, come on, don't be that guy. And right now, what's his face's girlfriend, Kash Patel's girlfriend, is being that guy. I can't respect it. I can't respect it. It's a terrible precedent. Like,
I think it's a bad look on Kash too. Cash's fall off has to be
look.
documented, man. He was the champion that we needed, and yeah, we love him. He's gonna turn the FBI around. You're looking like an op, bro. Like you're losing all credibility. We still didn't see the Epstein files, and you paraded 3 basketball players thinking you done cracked the code on something. And like, come on, man. This is not what we asked for. Now you're going after people on the right. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. I think people are being sensitive. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And like, Kash, unless you're co-signing this behavior from your woman,
I feel like you have to be.
Bad look. It's a bad look, man. That's way out of pocket. That's way out of pocket.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. And again, if this was like at least the Emmanuel Macron thing, like I'm a president of France, you can't be talking about my wife. Like at least there's something there, but
no. That one is just as ridiculous. Now, Candace at least is going hard in the paint. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's like, if she has invited a lot of pain and suffering into her life. This guy posted a trolley photo.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're a little bit different.
Amplitude comes up once again. So the amplitude of what Candace is doing is like, God damn. But even that, I would say, like, should they be? I mean, listen, what would I do? If people were like, Tom Bilyeu is a woman and he's trans, honestly, that would be funny. So, but like, let's say it really started gaining steam. Like, no, for real. Like, for real. Would I ever just whip it out, Drew? Would I? I probably wouldn't. But like, admittedly,
I'll show you right.
You know what I mean? Like, we can end this real fast. Like, there it is. It doesn't slap nearly loud enough. I will assure you of that. Yeah, I don't know, man. All of this is dumb. Lawfare to me is dumb. But Candace, the amplitude of what Candace is about is dialed to like 46. So.
Is this one of those things like this is just where we're at?
This is where we're at, but no, people really need to be up in arms about this. Yeah. People need to make it clear that is a level of ridiculous and not by doing more lawfare, by the way, just by like culturally being like, this is a clown show. This is just absolutely stupid. You guys are feeding into a fire. All the things you complained about, you're becoming like you're the villain that you swore that you were going to stop. It's just dumb. So yeah, somebody somewhere has got to say like, okay, look, I have every right to pursue this person. I'm not going to because it's stupid and we need to look forward. Like for all Trump's lock her up talk, at least in 2016, he didn't actually pursue it. Mm-hmm. Now he's pursuing it. So don't love. And for anybody saying that Candace doubled down, you are incorrect. Candace has quintupled down. Candace has orders of magnitude down. Like when I watch her, I'm like, well, what's that Michael Jackson meme where he's in Thriller with the popcorn? That's where I'm at with Candace and the fucking Macrons, man. Like, god damn.
Everybody's waiting for that.
She is all the way in. I can see her doing like special events from fucking prison where she's just like, no. I still swear to God. She's like literally pulling her ovaries out and showing them to her. She's like, there's no way. She stuffed them up there. It's all fake. Like, I don't know that
if
Candace
she beats
will buy
that case, she's going to go live on the Eiffel Tower. You have to take that victory lap.
I will refer to her exclusively as the Teflon Don. Like, if she beats that, Candace can say whatever the fuck she wants.
She's going to go live in front of the Louvre. Like, all right, guys. All right.
Yeah.
I did it. Oh,
man. Live from Macone's bedroom.
Yeah, you gotta hit that victory lap.
She is all the way in. Candace, like, literally, if I was like looking at like a screen of all the people that I could fuck with in the world, I'd be like, no, you can remove Candace. Like, it doesn't matter. But Tom, she killed your dogs. Bro, I said take her off. I'm not going after Candace. I don't know who you think I am.
They're gonna make a John Wick 5 and it's Candace Owens. Like, never mind. It's cool. No. It's cool.
She's Booby Waga. What was the guy's name in John Wick? She is the Booby Waga. All right. You don't fuck with the Booby Waga. I'm just telling you right now. No way.
That's funny. All right. And then keeping assaults on free speech intact, South Korea's new president, I don't know enough to call him far left because I feel like they just had a demographic crisis.
But it says far left right there.
Who is this? I can't even pronounce the news channel. All right. Lee Jae-myung tells his police force that hate speech and misinformation shared on social media must be considered a crime that goes beyond the limits of freedom of expression. He says it must be severely punished as it's a threat to democracy. Before we get into it, what do you think about this trend that's happening all over the world, it seems like, of this push on we need to police information?
If you find yourself saying disinformation should be made illegal, you're a categorical moron. You need to be immediately removed from office. I don't care Trump, my favorite, pick anybody that you think I like. If they're like misinformation should be illegal, done, disqualified, out, impeach, 25th Amendment, whatever the one is that's like they're unfit for service, like 1,000%. Like, no, absolutely not. You are crushing dissenting voices. Like, that is the most draconian 1984 shit ever. That is somebody who just believes they're right. Like, the obvious question is, bro, have you legitimately never been wrong? No, I've been wrong before. Then why the fuck would you ever say that people shouldn't be allowed to disinform? When you're wrong, you are quote unquote disinforming the public. So nobody is going to be right all the time. Nobody should trust themselves. History is a never-ending litany of we thought this, then we realized we're wrong. We thought this, and then we realized we were wrong. We thought this, and then we realized we were wrong. Once you understand, we don't even understand quantum physics. We don't understand it. So we don't understand the most fundamental building blocks of the universe. So what are we supposed to do? Like, people are not allowed to like try to think through it. They're not allowed to say what they believe to be true, but ultimately be wrong. That is the dumbest shit ever. It is so crazy to me that people think that you can make progress as a society while saying, I am the arbiter of what is true. And therefore, if you say something that I disagree with, you are incorrect and you've got to be shut down. Like, did you people not live through COVID? Like, we were just wrong about everything. We were lied to about a whole bunch of shit. And the takeaway should have been, oh yeah, the only way to get to the right answer is to let everybody say what they believe to be true, begin to parse it out. You're going to have to sift through a lot of bullshit, but like, things will rise to the top, and over time, science is going to show these are the things that work, these are the things that don't, and you're going to get flat earthers on whatever the topic. And guess what flat earthers are not going to do? They're not going to build the rockets that take us to Mars, so they can fuck off. And the people that understand how space actually works, they're going to be the people that build the rockets and build the thing. Skills have utility. And so the people that actually know something and that something is meaningful, they're going to win. The guy that can't explain modern monetary theory is not going to make money in the way that Scott Bessent is going to make money, because he actually understands how economies work. And so it's like, follow the people that have the skill set to do a thing in real life. And once you like hook onto that, oh, that's right. Skills have utility. Skills let you do a thing other people can't do. So it's pretty easy to find the people that have the skills. Now, you may misidentify what the skill is. The skill may be, oh, they're really good at manipulating. They're really good at blackmail or whatever. And so they can get people to do what they want to do. Cool. You have to figure out what is the actual skill that that person is deploying. But skills have utility.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump into the statement to hear right from him.
일부에서
I'll say it again. In some parts of our society.
출신, 국가, 뭐 이런 것들을 가지고 정말로 시대착오적인
truly
차별,
anachronistic
혐오가
discrimination and
행행하고
hatred based
있습니다.
on race, origin, and
이
national
사회가
origin
점차
is rampant.
양극화되고 있는
As our
와중에
society becomes increasingly
이렇게
polarized,
극단적 표현들이 사회
these
불안을
extreme
계속
expressions
확대시키고
continue to
있습니다.
exacerbate social unrest.
특히 SNS
In
등에서
particular, hate
특정
speech
대상을
directed at
향한
this
혐오
specific target
표현이
is being
무차별적으로
indiscriminately
유포되고
spread on social media platforms.
허위 정보 또는
And
조작
false
정보가
or
범람하고
manipulated
있습니다.
information is spreading.
더 이상 이를
We
묵과해서는 안
can't
됩니다.
tie this down any longer.
이는 표현의 자유의
This is a clear
한계를
crime that goes beyond the
넘어서는
limits of freedom of
명백한
expression.
범죄 행위입니다. 혐오 표현에 대한 처벌 장치를 속히 마련하고 또 허위 조작 정보
So if
유포
this is what
행위를
people want,
And all the
then
subtitle stuff.
they're gonna run the experiment. We're gonna find out like if cracking down on it works. But look at what's going on in the UK. Terrible.
Okay, let me steal a message from Gadsad. Is this just a case of maybe suicidal empathy?
No.
So do you think that there is a case for, hey, guys, AI is right around the corner. Deep fakes are everywhere. We're only going to get worse and more confused. So we at least need guidelines to help rein people in.
That statement's all true. But this is not that. So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
The only way that we're going to figure out what is true is basically by the masses voting on what they believe to be the most accurate at the time. So we are going to create a system where when you're posting online that you can watermark where that thing came from. And that way everybody will be trained over time who's trustworthy and who's not. And so if an account that you really trust and believe has built up years of credibility with you and they post a video, it's got their water stamp and they say, this is true, I made this video, and it's got their cryptographic signature on it. It's like, yeah, I believe that came from them. It's their channel, high integrity. If I see, oh, this came from Alex Jones. I'm like, nah, I always put a discount on that. I don't know that I buy the things that come out of his channel. Oh, that came from the BBC. Didn't they just get sued by Trump for $1 billion for misediting something? I'm suspicious, right? So now it's like, okay, you did put regulation in, which is that things have a watermark from where they come from. They can come from anonymous accounts. That's fine. But it's like, if I see, oh, this came from an anonymous account. Yeah, I don't trust anonymous accounts. Cool. Then I can disregard that. So why that hasn't happened faster, I'm admittedly confused by. The technology exists. All they have to do is put it in the interface. And they're not doing it. And I don't know why. So that one I would love to see. Like, if you want to talk about what is something I would like to see regulated, hey, here's light touch regulation. Dear social media platforms, you must add, over the next 6 months, you must add a way for cryptographic tags to be displayed that verify what account it's from. You don't have to verify who's behind the account. You don't have to say that you're a publisher. None of that. Just you have to have a little thing where I can hover over it and I can see this belongs to this account. Great.
I think that would like destroy Twitter like overnight, because the bots will then be kind of.
But it'll just come from bot accounts. So it becomes every person has to build trust.
Like tied to old accounts, like
like
a chain of custody type thing.
Exactly. So as people pass it on, that original video either came from a source that I trust or it did not. And if it came from a source that I trust, great. If it came from a source that I didn't trust, automatic discount. But right now, it's like I can't even tell. I don't know where it came from. So you just start going, wait, is this real? But like, if everybody was trained that you just want to know the origin of that video. So if I see an origin, let's say of a cat video, this happens to my poor wife all the time. She's like, I don't know if I find that funny because it might be AI. And she does not enjoy the videos if they're AI, the like animal videos. So imagine you've got an account that's like, we never ever post anything AI. If you see a pet video from us, it's guaranteed like we're good. And so, great. If that doesn't originate from an account like that, Lisa's like, I'm not even going to watch it. So, and obviously that's a jokey example because all the political stuff is going to make a lot more sense. But if you see a video from Trump and he's supposedly saying he's going to nuke China, and you see that the video came from the White House, it's like, uh-oh. But if you see that the watermark comes from, Billy Bob 123, it's like, all right, this is probably some bullshit.
Do you think that that's going to happen?
That seems so inevitable to me, but I would have said it would have happened by now. So the fact that it hasn't shakes my confidence. But that seems so obvious and doesn't cause anybody to give up their anonymity. It just says you now as an individual know where a video generated from, and you know whether you trust the originator of that video.
I just got confused. Somebody said, I seen a cat playing Ding Dong Ditch. I'm like, that'd be hilarious.
The odds that that's AI are basically.
I wish it was.
When my
real.
wife saw a video of a giraffe wearing a fanny pack boarding a plane through the normal boarding door and it didn't realize it was AI, I was like, uh-oh.
We might have a problem on our hands coming up.
Now, that was the early days of AI, but I was like, didn't you notice the fanny pack? She's like, I didn't see it. It's pretty funny.
All right, we got another super chat.
We do, from Andrea.
Super chat.
And that's a $50 boy. Shout out to Andrea.
Oh, Andrea coming in hot.
Thank you. She had some jokes earlier too. She had me cracking up.
USAID and NED Arms are pulling the international levers since they lost grasp on the social media domestic scene. You need to get Mike Benz back on as soon as you can. He's found wild stuff about this distribution of jury nullification training at scale.
Mike Benz is somebody that I would have on with distressing regularity. I really like him and hate the fact that he so violently updated my worldview of how NGOs work, because I always vaguely thought of them as like positive pro-humanity. I did not realize that they were at times even CIA fronts. Doesn't mean they're all CIA fronts. I am absolutely not saying that. But yeah, Mike Benz is amazing, and I would definitely have him back on many, many, many times.
Man. We will get on that. Lisa said, in my defense, I didn't see the fanny pack or the fact it was boarding a plane.
I was going to let it cook. I was going to just leave it. But yeah, in fairness to her, once you look at it through her eyes, I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. It's still a giraffe boarding a plane. on its own, like cognizance. So, but she's getting better. I will say that.
Okay. Speaking of AI, we have to talk about this incoming AI bubble because there's been a lot of speculation. SoftBank just ditched all their NVIDIA. Warren Buffett has liquidated all his stock, even selling one of his companies for a loss.
Michael Burry's put a short on NVIDIA.
Yeah. Michael Burry thinks that the AI conglomerate is all overhyped. They're using CapEx expenditures a bit too loosely.
Well, he called it fraud. Just straight up fraud. He said this is the biggest type of fraud. So he wasn't saying like it's unique to them, but he was like, this is the biggest type of fraud in modern history. Anyway, that was the idea. May not be exactly the words, but that was the idea.
Why use the word fraud?
Because he says it misrepresents the amount of profit that they're actually making. And he gave amounts, and it's a lot. Okay. Like if his math is correct, it ends up overstating their profit dramatically. So this is where I go, yeah, accounting gets very complicated very fast. So I'll just say, okay, he's probably directionally correct. But it is common. So fraud is more of a Michael Burry stance than a legal stance.
Gotcha.
It seems like it's cracking in all different directions. Let me jump into this tweet. Wells Fargo just called the top, and nobody wants to hear it. The tech sector downgraded to neutral, not bearish, just neutral. Wall Street's politest way of screaming, get out while you can. And this was something we talked about before we started, the valuation chasm. Tech stocks, 46x earnings. The S&P 500 average is 29x. Yeah. That's a 59% premium for a sector trading on future promises while sitting on a present-day fragility. That does seem bold, and I'm jumping over to the Sam Altman interview where he kind of had to justify his revenue. But what's your initial take so far before we play that?
AI is a bubble, obviously.
I was not expecting that. Hold on a second.
But tech was a bubble in 2000. So it's like AI is going to play out. It's going to be the illest shit ever. I'm just saying you don't yet know how it's going to shake out, who are going to be the main players. So it's one of those where 46x to me, now listen, I don't want to go up against Michael Burry in the open market. But the way that I'm reading this is that you have to understand what's happening now through the lens of liquidity. There's so much money flowing into the system that it's got to go somewhere. So smart money knows you have to hide from inflation. You have to find a return. And the government is getting dicey. So there are fewer people that are just flooding into treasuries like there would historically. And so you've got people chasing like a return. And so they're going to go into the stock market for sure. They're going to go into the thing that they believe on a long timeline is going to be a high performer. And they're probably a little too confident in themselves. But we detached from like fundamentals a long time ago. This is just about where can I be? And they all think they're going to be smart enough to get out while the getting is still good. And so they go up. Supply and demand tells you that NVIDIA stock is a hot thing right now. So I'm going to flood into NVIDIA stock. I won't be stupid. I'll get out once I've gotten my winnings and, let the dumb money take the fall. And the bad news is for the top people, that's actually true. That is what they do. But I paid more attention to this in crypto wallets, but if something like crypto wallets, 5% of the crypto wallets do 90% of the gains. And so it's like
5% of the crypto.
Bro, this is how markets work. There really is people. Okay, listen, everybody. We're all the dumb money. We're the dumb people.
It's us. We're
so that's why I say don't day trade. You're going to lose. Now, there might be a small handful of you that are the smart money that are taking advantage of all the rest of us that are dumb money. But I am reminded that not my entire audience doesn't understand PvPvE. So let me explain. The market is a PvPvE game. PvP is player versus player. PvE is player versus environment. So think of it as the NPCs, the mobs, as they are often referred to. Once you understand the stock market is gambling, but it's PvPvE gambling. So you're gambling against other players that are trying to beat you. They're trying to trick you, outperform you, pump so that you pour in so that they can get out. They spin narratives up in Telegram groups and try to get like hype going. Like that's it.
You're buying what they're selling and they're selling what they're buying.
But understand, you are actively going up against human beings that are trying to take your money. If you don't have that mental map of what investing is, you will be taken advantage of, guaranteed. This is why I say just put your money in and walk away. Dollar cost average in to a highly diversified basket of goods and then walk away. Do not try to beat these people. The PvE side of this is that there's all kinds of things happening in the world, the economy. So there are environmental factors that they're out of your control. Like you've got George Soros out there influencing NGOs and elections, and Soros and Besant together breaking the back of the British pound, and like just all kinds of crazy shit. The yen carry trade unwinding for like global reasons. The US like loaning money to Argentina, and there's tons of people invested in Argentina. And so those people just got taken care of, but the people shorting it just got their asses handed to them. And so was that really moral? Like, right? So that's the E part. So when you understand that this is a PvPvE game that is extremely complicated, that's when it's like, okay, just accept. Unless you're doing this all day, every day, you are the dumb money that everybody's trying to win against. Now, how does the dumb money win? They play a very long-term game. Because ironically, if you play a long game and you're diversified, you actually do end up winning. You don't win like the insane amounts. It tends to rough out to about 7%, 6 to 7% over inflation. So it's like, cool, great, yay. But you've got to be completely unemotional.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to day trade your way, you're going to be in trouble.
All right, I want to jump into this. This interview has been kind of circulating with Sam Altman was asked, how can a company with 13 billion in revenues make 1.4 trillion of spending commitments?
Can a company with 13 billion in revenues make 1.4 trillion of spend commitments? You know, and you've heard the criticism,
First
Sam.
of all, we're doing well more revenue than that. Second of all, Brad, if you want to sell your shares, I'll find you a buyer. I just enough.
So serious.
Is that Nadella there at the bottom?
You know, are doing in excess of $100 billion of revenue in 28 or 29.
Okay, so first of all, they cut that weird because he goes on for a while. Like, going to be easy to find a buyer. And you can feel the like disdain in his voice. And I didn't watch the video, but I read a headline and somebody was like, this is giving me Enron vibes like 2 months before they collapsed, where they were just so cocky and so arrogant, thinking, we'll be fine. And then PvPvE, the E comes in hard and poof, the company's gone overnight. So I don't know what's happening with OpenAI. I don't want to pretend that I do. It is very weird that he was effectively asking for government guarantees, aka a bailout. He denies that that's what's happening, but I've also heard him say that at some point, I don't remember if he said OpenAI specifically, but that was the implication, really is too big to fail, that they're too important to the infrastructure of US AI, that the government is basically de facto going to have to back them. This is why the state shouldn't get involved in capitalism. The state should be laying infrastructure that all of the AI companies can use, and the ones that do that well survive, and the ones that don't go out of business. We need to get away from this idea of things are too big to fail. Anyway, I could do a whole tirade on keep the government out of it. But that is admittedly, that disdain is somebody who is both getting a little too cocky and I'm sure has just had to answer this question over and over and over, and he's getting tired. I think Sam Altman is in battles behind the scenes that none of us know about, that it is constant and never ending. His own family was suing him at one point. So it's like, I'm sure this guy's just under siege at all times from international companies in the US. He's going up against Elon all the time. You've got Meta poaching his best employees. Like, that is a level. There's a reason I don't own a public company, by the way. This would be one of them. And so I get it. Like, it doesn't look fun. I don't know why people do that shit. Yes, you can make a lot of money, but god damn, you are going to, like, you deal with stress, just nonstop violence. And it's already stressful enough being an entrepreneur. I don't need that next layer.
We don't need that added to that.
So anyway, what will ultimately come of all of this, I don't know. I will say Sam Altman strikes me as a survivor, but even more than I read into what he's saying, I read into the way that he's saying it. Now, admittedly, it's a pretty good clapback because he's right. As of right now today, he would have no trouble selling whatever shares
You just move the window to my side.
Wants to get rid of. So, and Brad isn't going to get rid of his shares. Let's just start with that.
I mean, I definitely get the pressure that entrepreneurs come under, but we are putting the entire U.S. economy on this AI promise. Like literally deficit, the future of the world, the meaningless crisis, all these things are happening. It's kind of like we're trying to balance a house on the pinnacle of a mountain.
Even more.
Yeah. Like, so I understand OpenAI might have some cracks, but hopefully Claude and Meta and all these other people can kind of take their reins. But even if it's a 1% possibility, if this AI thing comes crashing down, are we then back to square one? Is it at that point, yeah, the U.S. it's a wrap, we're going to hit 130 in no time?
So
like, is there...
that's not how look, that could put a lot of financial stress, and that could be one of those things where it blows up. And now both, because there are two economies right now. There are the have assets and the have nots.
Mm-hmm.
And the have assets are doing really well, right? So 25 has been very good to me. I've made a lot of money. And the have assets who are feeling great right now are all like, we're driving the economy. And the have nots are like, I can't afford groceries. And so this sucks. And I'm going to vote in a socialist. So that discrepancy will be wildly exacerbated if the AI bubble were to burst right now, because then the have assets are largely going to be battered.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to be in a 2000.com bubble or a 2008 recession type thing. Now, if the everything bubble blows up and everything bursts, woo, that one is a multi-year, certainly Great Recession equivalent. Does it become an actual depression? It's got a shot, because there could be a contagion effect. If the contagion effect takes down the banks, which are functionally insolvent, then it would be very, very bad. So am I expecting that? The timeline, listen, I am admittedly building my arc now, and I feel like a junior carpenter who's like really just trying to build his first thing. But I am trying to build my arc right now, trying to make sure that I have the diversified portfolio of uncorrelated assets, make sure that I come with great humility and understand that even if I'm directionally correct, getting the timing wrong is brutal. So being very careful about that, making sure that I can survive any economic condition no matter what comes. But my real, like the alarm bell that I'm trying to sound is like a 7 to 10 year time horizon. I'm not on a like, oh, like even if we get a deflation of the bubble, I don't think we get like the insane reset in like the next year. Now, listen, you want to talk about one where I'm like, boy, would I feel stupid if I wasn't moving now, because it certainly could happen in the next year. But I just feel like your bigger concern is the left and the right start killing each other at an accelerating rate. And that causes revolution. That's the one that for real, like keeps me up at night.
So it's not even necessarily the ramifications of the bubble. It's the reaction to the bubble with the economic and the policy.
What almost always takes a country down, it's not a depression. It's wealth inequality. And so if we have a depression, it'll be brutal, but it's not people getting murdered in the streets. The wealth inequality running away is murder. So that's where it's like, okay, we want to look at historical things. So looking back, depression, very bad, and ups the odds of war probably a lot, because now it's like, Trump, listen, you want to get out of this? All you got to do, piss off China, make them make a move, do something, like start saying some shit about Taiwan. And then we can spin up the military machinery. We get everybody all patriotic. We fucking tax everybody, not just the rich. We tax everybody. And yeah, we get everybody super comfortable with that. We get people jobs, building the war machine, and we do our thing. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying the odds of that increase. So that is a scenario that I hate. The other scenario is we keep spending money as if printing money doesn't reverse Robin Hood everybody, and the wealth inequality gets intolerable. And there's like, are you guys paying attention to the ICE stuff? Remember, ICE is an economic problem. ICE is just economics. So it isn't, in fact, let me lay that out. The anti-immigrant sentiment is rising because you have a shrinking pie. It is actually shrinking. Because that pie is actually shrinking, you are fighting over finite resources, and it's a populist moment. So the left and the right hate each other, which is all born of economics anyway. Everybody's forced into these camps. So now you've got two sides fighting over a shrinking pie, and they each want their portion. We're in a super weird moment where whatever one side does, the other side has to be the exact opposite. So right now, because Trump's in power, whatever Trump does, the left becomes the exact opposite. So if Trump says deport, well, we got to be 1,000% opposed to that. And so these are the things, like when people say, like, how would, you hear this question all the time, how would the Civil War actually play out? It's playing out. You're watching it right now. It's escalating. So you're seeing moms being like lookouts for places that they think ICE is going to be. You see people throwing rocks off overpasses at cop cars. You see ICE officers being shot at. So this is how it plays out. So you've got a guy with authoritarian leanings who anytime a blue state says, you can't come here, he's like, well, somebody needs my help. And he's going to send him in because you don't get to tell him what to do. And then that gives them the exact excuse that they want to push back. So it becomes these little incursions. And so those will just continue to escalate.
Yeah. I think we have some breaking news. I see that. Let me show it through it really quick. But real quick, I just want to put a pin in this AI thing. AI-generated country song is topping a Billboard chart. And this is on the backs where last week, I think an R&B song that was AI generated also made the chart.
You got to play this song. So first of all,
I don't want to get copyrighted. So
really?
Yeah.
For an AI song?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Somebody owns.
I didn't think you could copyright an AI song. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of dig that, to be honest. All right. So it's really good. Like, I really like it.
Is it going in the rotation?
It's already in the rotation. I've already listened to it today. So yes, it is absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
So I really am saddened by people that are like, I'm going to fight against this because all through human history, every time we fought against the technology, it worked. Oh, wait a second. No, it didn't. Not once, ever. So I get the meaning in crisis. You need to have a solution for that. And I guess part of why I'm so embracing it is I have all the copium in the world in the form of, I know what I'm going to do in an AI world where AI is better than me at everything. And as long as it doesn't kill me, I've still got a strategy. Now, if it kills or enslaves me, I'm going to be like, whoopsies. But yeah, right now, so it's going to happen. It's amazing. Use it to your advantage. Go write the song you've always wanted to write. Create the thing you've always wanted to create. There's going to be a, call it 5-year-ish window where you just get to make things. And you get to make it, and it's all cheaper, and you're going to be able to do things you just weren't previously able to do. 7 to 10 years, that one's going to be a little harder. You're going to be like, I don't have a job. I don't need a job because I'm being taken care of, but I don't like the way that feels. And all the really cool things that Tom is talking about, we're still not a Kardashev type 2 civilization yet. So this kind of sucks. And there will be a good 10-ish years of that, which are going to be unfun. There's no way around it.
Man. All right. Let's jump into it. So Trump
What's the breaking news? I don't know.
Trump knew about the girls. Jeffrey Epstein says in an email.
Wait. They found an email.
Newly released emails from 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein told author Michael Wolff that his ex-friend, President Donald Trump, knew about the girls. Epstein in a 2011 email to a now convicted procurer, how you say her name? Ghislaine Maxwell, wrote, "I want you to release that the dog I want you to realize that the dog hasn't barked is Trump. Hasn't barked is Trump. I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." I'm tired this morning, guys. Sorry. Epstein told Maxwell that a victim of his spent hours at my house with Trump. The email says so. This is saying that they have email proof. I'm looking for an actual thing of the email, but if we do have actual email evidence that says that, Epstein is insinuating that Trump knew about it, does this change things? Is this kind of too little, too late?
Well, so here's the really bad news. Don't we already know he knew about the girls? Because there was like some beef where he said, like, you've got to stop taking the girls out of this place. He distanced himself from him. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. I think the headline level was he kicked him out because he didn't like the way that he was treating women. That was my understanding. But as a PSA, I heard with my own ears Trump say, you grab them in the
hoo-ha.
Yes. So, boys and girls, Trump does not have a line with women that I'm comfortable with. So I'm going to guess that no one is going to like what they find. Like, if you could have godlike powers and just read every thought and know every like true thing, you're not going to be like, oh, he's such a good guy. Mm-hmm. You're going to be skeeved in the extreme. Yeah. Now, maybe you're not as skeeved out as you are by Epstein, who really seems monstrous. But man, Trump, just from where I'm sitting, just has a bad track record with that. Like, bro, you can't say grab him in the hoo-ha. You can't. Like, that's crazy. Not only can you not say it, I'm going to guess he said it because he actually did it. And then to make it even worse, you want to know the really, really, really bad part? I bet he thought it was a turn on for them. And that is just an unforgivable misunderstanding of women. So not only is it sexual assault, it's just horrific on every conceivable level. So yeah, there's no like coming clean for him. There's no like exoneration in that way. Now he's going to say, yes, I knew that he had some impropriety with the women. I had no idea how bad it was. And I still wanted him to get away. So this isn't going to be the smoking gun that takes him down, because we got over the grab him in the hoo-ha. So the only thing is he's got to release the fucking files, man. Yeah. Got to release the files.
He's in them.
Release the files.
He's in them.
Obviously.
Obviously. We'll keep monitoring it. When new stuff has rolls out, we'll get to it. But literally, we just learned that right now, thanks to the chat and Mason for pulling that up. We'll keep figuring it out.
Yeah.
There's been 2 posts that have gone viral that I've been waiting for this day to show you.
Let's go.
We're going there, guys.
I'm ready.
So I need you to hit these are quick hits, Tom. Who was right? Who was wrong?
Ooh, let's go.
Let me know where it's at. Okay. This is the first one. The girl he cheated on.
Yep.
Woman dancing upstairs.
Okay. She's been cheated on.
Yes.
Okay.
The girl he turned her into. She lost some weight.
Let's go.
Done.
She got that glow up.
Glowed up.
Yep.
Somebody retweeted, look at me. I never put in an ounce of effort until I got cheated on.
Yeah. Hey, look, we all make mistakes. I'm glad that she's on her, and it may be a villain arc, but I'm here for it. Now, if she repeats the mistake, gets into a relationship and is like, I'm going to let myself go again. I'm not going to like do the things that make him feel seen and appreciated and all that. Great. Or hopefully, like, I'm also, by the way, not going to be with somebody who would cheat. There is one thing, quite literally, my wife could just blindly bet everything on. She can't bet that my husband would never leave me. Now, I don't think I would. I can't fathom. But that's not the one to like bet your life on. But she could bet her life on the fact that I will never cheat on her. Because I would go to her and say, hey, these things are moving in the wrong direction. I don't like the way that I feel. I'm not feeling good. Next meeting, same thing. If it's not changing, like screaming, hey, listen, I won't keep putting up with this. I am going to leave. Here's the date. If we don't rectify this, go to therapy, all of that. Like she would see it coming a mile off. And then I would, because I have a moral code that's like, yeah, breaking up while should be an absolute last resort. I'm not going to stay in a loveless marriage, all of that. But literally there is no excuse for cheating. So that's just off the table for me. Whether she finds out about it or not, it's completely irrelevant. To be the person I want to be, I can't cheat. And I have proven to myself, if nobody else, I will always act in accordance with the person I want to be. So anyway, find somebody who's not going to cheat on you. That would also be something. So hopefully, in addition to realizing that you attract a lot more people when you look good, men and women out there, I will just assure you, if you want to feel good about yourself, making money is cool and all, but when you're in shape, there is an evolutionary algorithm in your brain that's like, you're the shit. I'm just telling you right now, nobody escapes it. Literally nobody. So get that ass tuned right up. Life gets a lot better. I'm just here to say, PSA. So yeah, I hope for all of that. But I love it. Everybody should glow up.
All right, we got another one. This next one, this one's interesting. This poor dude planned his proposal and she said no in front of all their family and friends because the ring was only $900 and came from Walmart.
Oh.
Personally, I think he dodged a bullet. But let's jump into the text thread.
Yeah.
I just got to ask Monty, what happened tonight? I've been planning this proposal for over a year. You really told me no in front of everyone. That shit crushed me. It's not even about embarrassing you. It's about you not listening. I told you the kind of ring I wanted more than once, and you showed up with something from Walmart. So this is about the ring. I still spent $900 regardless of where I got the ring. I put so much effort into this for you, for us. Tyler, if you knew what I wanted and still chose to do what was easiest, tells me you really didn't hear me. I want to feel chosen, not just proposed to. Wow, so everything I did just didn't matter to you, huh? It mattered, but not enough for me to say yes to a forever I'm not sure you're ready for. I don't know. So as I read this, like I seen this headline, $900 ring, she a gold digger, F her. And then I read this and I'm like, well, wait, if you didn't even talk to her about it, like the ring is for her. The ring's not about you. So there seems to be a miscommunication there. What's your read on it when you get
the read is that both of these people are in a bad place. So if a lot of this comes down to what can he afford? Now, if she's told him, listen, I love you very much, but I have these reasons why XYZ ring matters to me a lot. And if he's being a stubborn dickhead and is like, she's going to take the ring I give her and she's going to be happy about it, then that's horrific. Now, if she like knows that this is somebody who's well-meaning, who loves her, and he just can't afford anything else, and he is like bursting at the seams to spend forever with her, and believes that I'm better off getting her a bigger ring at Walmart. I know she doesn't love the idea of a Walmart ring, but like, I just really think that she would prefer a big diamond than something smaller somewhere else. Then, you know, I want forever to begin right now. The line from When Harry Met Sally, amazing line. So like I could see where both are coming from, where they don't feel heard or listened to. And I can see a take where it's like both of these people are like low-grade monsters who, thank God, like they don't know how to communicate. They don't give a shit like where the other person is coming from, or they're materialistic, or, you know, whatever. But just as like a step back and hopefully help guide some people through this, rings are specifically bowerbird shit. So rings are meant bowerbirds. So bowerbirds go find the craziest trinkets and things that they can to build the most extravagant nest to show the woman like, hey, I can really do this thing. The woman sets a bar from an evolutionary perspective and says, I will have sex and commit myself to the person that can cross that hurdle. If your nest isn't dope enough, I'm just like, well, you're not the guy. Like, this is meant to be proof that you're worthy. I think it is good. I think it is moral. I think it is evolutionarily accurate for women to set a bar and say, dear man, I want to see you cross this. Now, I think that the right bar isn't manifest as a financial outcome. I think women would be way better off finding somebody when they're young, call it early 20s, and going after somebody that can demonstrate the potential to grow, and then they want to help that person grow. So like my wife effectively has diamond dust on her finger. I could buy her something that would dislocate her shoulder, and she won't let me do it. She will not fucking wear an updated wedding ring. She is like, this is where we were when you proposed. This is staying on my finger forever. And like, I just could not care less about like fancy shit. I have spent ridiculous amounts of money buying her other jewelry. She doesn't really care about it. So it's like, listen, don't get me wrong. My wife buys jewelry, but not like the really expensive stuff. Yeah. And so I've tried, man. Like when we first came into money, that day I took her and spent like 5 times what I spent on the engagement ring. She never wears it. She just doesn't care about it. So anyway, my wife had a Bowerbird hurdle that was not where are you now? It's who do I believe that you can become? So my wife put a tremendous amount of pressure on me when I wasn't getting out of bed, when I wasn't dressing nice, when I wasn't doing my hair, when I wasn't working towards our goals. Anything that she saw as like, oh, you're being lazy. She was on that like white on rice. Praise Jesus. I am so glad. I am so glad. And it was really upsetting at the time. It really hurt my feelings when she was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like you're laying in bed until moments before I come home from work. I'm working, you're not. And she was not impressed. And that shame, and it was shame, is what made me get the fuck out of bed and be like, I'm going to show this woman that I'm for real. And that is powerful. Now, if this woman is just like, you need to make a bunch of money. And if you're not making money, you can fuck right off. Now I'm like, she's just going to be unhappy. Like you want to find somebody that's got the potential and you want to help them develop that potential. You need to put a hurdle. They need to show that they are worthy, but the diamond ring is a little too evolutionary for my taste. Like I want somebody that also has a prefrontal cortex and can be like, okay, listen, let's like, I want to set the stage for the kind of man I need you to be if we're going to get married. You can set the stage for the kind of woman I need to be for you to get married. Totally here for that. This needs to be an equal exchange. And just not make it about the sort of no-brainer, like just knuckle dragging your way through life where marketers came and said, the Bowerbird thing that we're going to make the thing is a diamond ring.
Yeah.
And so,
Chocolates on Valentine's Day too was another one, like Hallmark, like, yeah.
100%.
This also reminds me of kind of that like study that the more you spend on a wedding, the more likely you are to get divorced.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
is like super
there's
old,
such
but
a
like,
correlation, but it could just be that the woman is feeling insecure, and so she needs more money, more money, more money, proof that you'll splash out the resources on me. I'd be really curious to see if part of this is that we broke something that made a lot more evolutionary sense, which is you should be getting married in your early to mid 20s and then developing together versus the woman waiting for the man to be successful and then being like, okay, I'm just going to marry somebody who's already successful and I'm going to see like what he's willing to spend. But that guy's like built all of his habits. He's built a lot of walls around his heart. He realizes he can do this on his own. And so it becomes an exchange of like, this is terrible, but I'm not going to stop myself. Have you seen the meme where the woman comes? In fact, just pull it up. Oh God, are we going to be able to find it fast enough? This is so funny if we can find it fast. Woman says, you want to find the one that's tightest as you know it has a lot of life in it. It's a meme. She's talking about roses. Oh God, this is going to be so hard to find. I had to show this to my wife. I was in absolute fucking hysterics. God, it's not coming up. Never mind. So it's this woman and she's like showing people how to find the roses that have that are going to last the longest. And she's like, you want to look for the rose that's the tightest as it has the most life left in it. And then it's just guy after guy after guy popping his head up with like a knowing look. Absolutely hysterical. And that's basically the exchange. Men are optimized from an evolutionary perspective to go after youth and fertility. And so they're looking for all the cues that we know. And women are evolutionarily wired to look for a man that either already has access to resources or could get access to resources. And so it's like we're looking for very different. Yinagamo! I see you. So it's ultimately, that's what it boils down to. So I think that we really did break something by having people get together so late in life. It's just very different.
Okay, we got Elon came out with his gaming Mount Rushmore, Super Mario Brothers 3, Resident Evil 2.
No, sorry. Those, you're reading mine. Elon, very different. I just put that so I wouldn't have to think of it live on here. I should have warned you.
That was literally, okay, yeah. What was your, that's what my next question is.
So pull up. It was hilarious to see these guys. So he's talking to was the guy, the founder of Blizzard. So, but it was very interesting to hear these guys talk about it. But to cut to the chase, Elon gives it's like probably a third of the way into the video.
It wouldn't be for me.
More people downloaded and played Candy Crush than any
of them. No.
If you're going to talk culture movement, you kind of got to talk about cause.
The George Washington video games is punk. Exactly.
You put
Quick and deeper, like go right above.
If we didn't have a Jude upgrade, I would Blizzard. Like
it's probably true.
All the Infocom text adventures.
CIO.
How much money do you make?
I think like $5,000.
He's talking about the CIO back, but like by 5 cents.
And they held a paid tournament. So 4-person teams.
This is where he's explaining how good he is at games.
I was the second best
can't
person
remember if he's already given
Who
it
was
here.
First?
Brad, I spent more time playing Quake than I did on my classes.
Yeah, Quake was one of his games.
There was some startup that was trying to make esports.
I don't have the exact
I think he said Quake and then Diablo was another one.
No, I don't think Diablo made the list, which I was surprised. Most of his games were older. So that was interesting. But then it got me thinking, like, I'm the same. I've been playing games long enough that it's almost weird to give modern games like look, because you're like, they really stood the test of time. So my Mount Rushmore is my personal, like, what impacted me. So Super Mario Brothers 3 was the game that I had to buy. So my mom was like, I'm never getting you a Nintendo. So I had to take a job in a door factory at 12 to buy my own Nintendo. Super Mario Brothers 3 was either the game that came with it or the game that I bought. So anyway, that was like huge. I just love that game so much. I can't tell you. And then the next one that I go back to my list, I think it was Resident Evil 2. That was when I first got back into gaming after college, because I didn't game at all during college. Bought a PlayStation at a pawn shop, because that's where I was at that point in my life. And Resident Evil 2 was just, I'd never played a 3D game before. So I just kept getting eaten by the zombies because I could not figure out how to orient myself in space.
I remember how cinematic it was. Like,
oh my God, so dope.
Windows, yeah.
Dude, I was just so into that. And Minecraft is the greatest game of all time. For sure. That is definitely a debate I'll take with anybody. And then Metal Gear Solid 2 was the game that had the biggest emotional impact on me ever. When you go up against Praying Mantis and you have to switch controllers, dude, I was like, that is the most gangster thing ever. And that really impacted me now as a game developer. I think about that moment a lot. Like, how can you do something that the players just go, oh my God, that's so fun, novel, unexpected, it's brilliant. So yeah, that would be my Mount Rushmore. Everybody should have Minecraft on their Mount Rushmore, but I would not expect the other three to be universal at all.
Yeah, Minecraft doesn't make mine.
We've got another super chat.
You said what?
We've got another super chat.
Hey, let's get it.
Yeah. Super chat.
From Joe Lamoli. Tom, I'm confused. I understand that money printing makes assets the way to save your purchasing power, but soon is the inevitable default of the USD. All of my money is in the market. What to do when it all comes crashing down?
It's a really good question.
Sorry, I'm going to need to hear that again. I happened to look at something that said that the game I'm thinking of is Metal Gear Solid 1. Boy, am I convinced. It could be the Mandela effect, which I saw people talking about earlier, but I'm convinced it was Metal Gear Solid 2. But just in case I'm wrong, whatever the one is with Praying Mantis, that's the one. All right, sorry, now read the question again.
Tom, I'm confused. I understand that money printing makes assets the way to save your purchasing power, but soon is the inevitable default of the USD. If all my money is in the market, what to do when it all comes crashing down?
Yeah, that's why you don't want all your money in the market. So you need to look at Ray Dalio, I think, is the GOAT of this, where he's talking about you have to have 12 to 15 uncorrelated asset streams. That's like S tier. Lynn Alden has a great one that's far more simplified. That's at least 3 different buckets because getting the timing right. So even if we're right that the government does end up collapsing, like when is it going to collapse exactly? And so getting that timing wrong is bad. So yeah, like you want to be diversified. the odds that if the US went down, that the whole world went down is effectively zero. So it's like at some point you sort of become passport bro-y and you're going to be playing some of the same games, but in different markets. So this is where it starts getting very confusing in terms of what's like the winning strategy. And the only winning strategy, if you're not going to like spend the next 20 years becoming one of the greatest financial minds of all time, and then of course the ecosystem has to stay viable long enough for that to play out, is 12 to 15 uncorrelated asset classes, not all in the same jurisdiction. So not only in the US, spread out as much as you can, run a scenario where if the US collapsed, how much my portfolio would go down with it, in what way would it have to collapse to still remain viable? Because like the S&P 500, for instance, has got tons of international investment. So even if the US goes down, doesn't mean that the entire S&P 500 goes down. So, and also if the S&P keeps going up for 3 or 4 more years or 5 more years than you think it's going to be, do you really want to miss out on those gains? No, you don't. So it's like, you've got to be spread out and you've got to be sensible and you've got to be very humble in the face of thinking you know everything, because you don't. The only promise I will make you about the future is it will surprise you in some way.
We've got one more super chat from Sequoia Hall. One of my friends had a Commodore 64 and we started programming games via tape, 1982-ish. Dig Dug.
That's OG.
Atari, etc. as well, but not programmable.
Nice.
Dude, that is OG. That was Atari was my first gaming experience, but then we had a Commodore 64, and I was always bummed because other games, like it would show you on the back, this is the graphic on this machine, this is the graphic on the Commodore 64. They were always worse on the Commodore 64. I was always bummed about that, but alas, as Mega Bonk has taught us, as Ball X Pit has taught us, graphic fidelity just doesn't matter. Gameplay. It's all that matters.
Nice. All right. That's all we got.
There it is. We're already at time. All right, everybody. That's it for today. We will see you on Friday. And until then, my friends, be legendary. Take care. Peace.